Before the invention of words, we spoke a different language. It was a language of silence, a communion of energy, a simple and profound exchange of pure presence. The ancients knew a truth we have since forgotten, a truth whispered not in the ear, but felt in the soul. The universe does not hear your words. It responds to the vibration of your heart. It does not tally your arguments. It feels the frequency of your being. And yet, look at us now. We live in an age of miraculous connection, our voices able to cross oceans in an instant, our faces held in glowing rectangles in the palms of our hands. We have built a global network of wires and waves, a testament to our desire to reach out, to be heard, to be seen. But we must ask the question, the one that lingers in the quiet moments late at night. Why, in this world of endless chatter, do we feel so profoundly alone? Why does the gulf between two people sitting side by side feel wider than any ocean? Perhaps it is because we have been searching for connection everywhere except for the one place it has ever truly existed. We have looked for it in the approval of others, in the accumulation of followers, in the crafting of the perfect message. We have sought it on screens, through speakers, and in the noise of crowded rooms. We have been looking outward, always outward, while the source of all connection lies dormant, waiting patiently within. This journey, the one we are about to begin together, is not a lesson. It is not a collection of techniques or strategies for conversation. There are no scripts to memorize, no rules to master. This is an invitation to turn away from the relentless noise of the world just for a while. It is a call to step across the threshold of your own awareness, into the sacred, silent temple of your inner world. Here, in this space, we will not learn how to speak more effectively. We will learn to be more fully. We will discover that authentic connection is not the art of talking. It is the art of being present. It is the fragrance of a soul at peace with itself. This is a journey to remember the language you were born with, the language of stillness, the language of the heart, the language of true, unshakable connection. And so, we begin. But where does a journey like this start? It starts by acknowledging where we are. It starts by looking unflinchingly at the reason true connection feels so rare, so fleeting. It is because most of us, for most of our lives, are not actually available for it. We believe we are. We present ourselves as open, as willing listeners, as active participants in the dance of human interaction. But this is a grand and tragic illusion. The truth is, we are living inside a fortress of the mind. Imagine, if you will, that your consciousness, the very essence of your awareness, resides in a sealed room. The walls of this room are constructed from every experience you have ever had, every belief you have ever formed, every wound that has ever been inflicted upon you. There are no windows to the outside world. Instead, the walls are lined with speakers, and these speakers are constantly, relentlessly broadcasting. What do they broadcast? They broadcast the story of you. It is a continuous, self-referential loop. The speaker in the north corner replays your past failures. The one in the south whispers your anxieties about the future. Another, directly overhead, offers a running commentary, a judgment on everything, a constant stream of opinion and analysis. This is the voice that narrates your life, the voice of the ego. This is your echo chamber. Now, picture yourself in a conversation. You are sitting opposite another person. They begin to speak. Their words travel through the air, molecules vibrating, carrying a message from their world to yours. The words reach the walls of your fortress, but they do not penetrate. They cannot. The noise inside is too loud. As they speak of their joy, the speakers in your chamber immediately begin searching for a comparable story of joy from your own past, preparing it, polishing it, waiting for a pause so you can present it. You are not listening to their joy. You are using it as a cue to access your own archives. As they share a vulnerability, a fear, the speakers in your mind instantly begin to formulate advice. They broadcast diagnoses, solutions, a 10-step plan to fix the problem. You are not holding space for their pain. You are trying to eradicate it because its reflection makes you uncomfortable. As they present an idea that contradicts your own deeply held beliefs, the broadcasting system goes into high alert. The volume intensifies. The speakers blare out counter-arguments, evidence to the contrary, reasons why they are mistaken. You are not engaging with a new perspective. You are defending the structural integrity of your room. This is the monologue of the self. And the great tragedy of modern communication is that it is so often not a dialogue between two people. It is two echo chambers, two fortresses, aiming their broadcasts at one another. Words are exchanged, yes, sounds are made, but there is no entry. There is no true meeting. The energy of one person's being, their authentic presence, arrives at the doorstep of the other, only to find the door bolted and an endless, pre-recorded message playing from the inside. We have all felt the result of this. It is the hollowness after a long conversation. It is the exhaustion of feeling like you must constantly perform. It is the profound loneliness of being fundamentally misunderstood, of having someone look at you, nod, and reply with something so irrelevant that it confirms they were never really there with you at all. They were in their own room, listening to their own broadcast. And if we are honest, brutally honest with ourselves, we must admit that we have done the same. We have nodded, smiled, and offered rehearsed sympathies while our minds were 1,000 miles away, planning our grocery list, worrying about an email, or simply waiting for the other person to finish so we could say what we wanted to say. This is not a fault. It is not a moral failing. It is a mechanism. The ego, the narrator, the broadcaster in your chamber, believes its job is to protect you. It has constructed this identity, this story of you, and its prime directive is to maintain that story at all costs. A true dialogue is a threat to it. In a true dialogue, you might be changed. Your beliefs might be challenged. Your carefully constructed worldview might crumble. In the presence of another's raw truth, the story you tell about yourself might be revealed as just that, a story. The ego cannot survive this. It fears dissolution, and so it keeps the volume high. It ensures the monologue never stops. It makes you a performer, an orator, a debater, a storyteller, anything but a listener, anything but present. The chamber is designed for survival, but it is a prison that starves you of the one thing you truly crave: connection. It promises safety, but delivers only isolation. The walls, meant to protect you from pain, also block out love. They are impermeable, so you walk through the world, interacting with other fortresses. You send out signals, they send out signals. You compare the stories playing on your internal speakers. Ah, your story of suffering sounds like my story of suffering. Your political opinion matches the broadcast I am currently hearing. This is the basis for most alliances, most friendships of the ego. It is not a meeting of beings, but an agreement of narratives. It is a temporary pact between two echo chambers to validate each other's noise. But eventually, the emptiness returns. The loneliness seeps through the cracks. Because deep down, the soul, the silent witness behind the broadcaster, knows this is a lie. The soul does not crave validation, it craves communion. It does not want to be agreed with, it wants to be seen. It does not want to tell its story, it wants to be felt. Take a moment, right now. Can you hear it? Can you feel the subtle, constant hum of your own inner broadcast? The voice that is, at this very moment, commenting on these words. The one that is agreeing or disagreeing, analyzing, labeling. That is it. That is the sound of the walls. That is the monologue. Recognizing it is the first, most crucial step to see the chamber for what it is, not as you, but as a structure you inhabit, a program that is running. You are the one who is aware of the chamber. This awareness is the key, because in this awareness, you can begin to notice the spaces between the thoughts, the silence between the broadcasts. What would happen if the volume could be turned down? Not by force, not by fighting the noise, but by simply withdrawing your attention from it. What if you could find a door in this room, a door that has always been there, but has been hidden behind one of the speakers? A door that does not lead to the outside world, but deeper within, to a place of absolute silence. Before you can truly hear another, you must first learn to be quiet inside. You must be willing to stop listening to yourself. The first act of true connection is not an act of speaking. It is an act of profound, courageous inner silence. We have seen the fortress, the echo chamber of the self. We have heard its relentless broadcast. The recognition of this inner noise is the beginning of freedom, but it naturally leads to a question. How do we turn it off? How do we find the silence that exists beyond the static? The first mistake we make is to believe that we must fight the noise. We try to silence the mind by arguing with it, by shouting over it, by creating an even bigger internal disturbance. This is like trying to flatten a stormy ocean with a hammer. It only creates more waves, more turmoil. The escape from the chamber is not through force, it is through discovery. It is the realization that the silence you seek is not something you must create. It is already here. It has always been here. It is the very foundation of your being, the canvas upon which the noisy painting of your mind has been drawn. Our culture has taught us to fear silence. We see it as a void, an emptiness, an awkward pause in the conversation that must be filled at all costs. An empty space on the screen, a moment without stimulus, feels like a failure. But this is a profound misunderstanding of what silence truly is. True, deep silence is not an absence. It is a presence. It is not empty. It is full. It is a container for everything. Imagine a vast, dark, fertile field at midnight. It appears empty, void of activity, but in its quiet stillness, it holds the potential for all life. It is the soil in which every seed can germinate, in which every forest can grow. This is the nature of silence. The words spoken from the echo chamber, the noise of the ego, are like seeds thrown onto pavement. They clatter, they make a sound, and then they are swept away by the wind, useless. But a word, a feeling, a single moment of truth spoken into a shared space of silence is a seed planted in that fertile midnight soil. In the quiet, it is allowed to be. It can send down roots. It can absorb the nutrients of presence and empathy. It can grow into a towering tree of mutual understanding. Let us try to feel it now, just for a moment. You do not need to be in a quiet room, for this silence is not about the absence of external sound. It is an inner posture. Wherever you are, bring your awareness to the simple fact of your own breathing. Feel the air enter your body and feel it leave. Do not try to change it, just observe it. Now, expand that awareness to include the sounds around you. The hum of a machine, a distant voice, the rustle of leaves. Do not label them. Do not judge them as good or bad or annoying. Simply let them be pure vibration, waves of energy washing over you. And now, the most important step. Bring your attention to the space in which these sounds are happening. Can you feel it? There is a vast, silent field of awareness behind the sounds, beneath the thoughts, around the sensations. Sound arises out of this field, and it dissolves back into it. Thoughts flicker within this field, and they vanish back into it. This field itself does not change. It is eternally still, eternally silent, eternally present. This is your home base. This is the source of all true connection. This is the silence we are speaking of. To bring this into a conversation is to offer the greatest gift one human being can give another. It is the gift of your presence. When you sit with someone and you consciously choose to inhabit this silent field of awareness, you stop being a broadcaster and you become a space. You stop listening to the monologue in your own head, and for the first time, you are truly available to listen to them. You are not listening for cues. You are not listening to rebut, to advise, or to share a better story. You are listening to their being. You are providing them with a safe, sacred container of your silent attention, a space in which they can finally hear themselves. It is a miraculous thing. When someone is truly listened to in this way, without judgment, without interruption, they begin to find their own truth. Your silence gives them permission to travel deeper into themselves. The walls of their own echo chamber begin to thin because they are no longer being met by another wall. They are being met by an open field. We must learn to love the pauses. In our frantic world, the space between sentences is seen as a vacuum. We rush to fill it, to prove we are engaged, to keep the momentum going. But the pause is where the magic happens. The pause is the moment of integration. It is the breath between the notes that makes the music beautiful. When someone has shared something vulnerable, something real, the pause that follows is not empty. It is pregnant with meaning. It is a space for the truth of their words to land, to be felt, to be honored. To hold that pause, to sit in that shared silence for a beat longer than is comfortable, is to say without words, I am here with you. I have received what you have given me. I am not afraid of this moment. In that pause, hearts connect. In that pause, energy is exchanged. It is a moment of pure communion, more powerful than 1,000 well-chosen words. This silence is not weakness. It is not passivity. It is the highest form of strength. To remain centered and present while another person unleashes their anger, their grief, their confusion is an act of immense power. It is the power of the mountain that stands unmoved in the storm. It is the power of the deep ocean that absorbs every wave on its surface without disturbing its own profound stillness. To be this for another person is to be a healer. Your silent presence becomes a sanctuary. It tells them that their emotional weather is acceptable, that it can be held, that it will not destroy you. And in seeing that it does not destroy you, they learn that it will not destroy them either. This is the alchemy of listening. Your stillness has the power to calm their storm, not by doing anything, but by being everything. It is a coherent, energetic field that invites their chaotic energy to find a state of rest. So practice this. In your next interaction, set an intention. I will listen with silence. As the other person speaks, notice the immediate impulse in your mind to formulate a response. Notice the inner broadcaster clearing its throat, ready to go on air, and simply let it be. Do not follow it. Return to your breath. Return to the silent, aware field. Feel the space in the room. Look at the person speaking not as a source of information, but as a universe of being. Listen to the feeling behind their words. Listen to their energy. And when they finish, allow a pause. Breathe. Feel the moment. Then, and only then, speak. And notice how the words that arise from that silence have a different quality. They are calmer, wiser, more compassionate. They are not reactive. They are responsive. They come from a place of depth, not from the shallow, frantic surface of the mind. This is the beginning. This is the path out of the fortress. And now, having found the quiet, we can finally begin to see what has been hidden by the noise all along. We can turn this silent, loving awareness inward and begin to explore the vast and intricate architecture of our own inner world. The internal monologue has faded. The roaring of the speakers has subsided into a hum, and now even the hum is dissolving into the vast silent field of your own awareness. Here, In this newfound quiet, you stand at a threshold. For your entire life, you have lived on the manicured front lawn of your being, tending to the personality you show the world, all while the great house behind you has remained largely unexplored. You know its front hall, the room of your conscious thoughts and daily plans, but its deeper chambers and hidden corridors remain in shadow. To truly connect with another, you must first undertake a journey of homecoming. You must be willing to explore the architecture of your own inner world. Imagine your inner self as a vast and ancient temple or a sprawling mansion you have inherited. You have lived in it your whole life, yet you have only ever occupied a few of its many rooms. The rest have been locked, forgotten, or deemed too dark to enter. This journey is not about renovation. It is not about judging the decor or trying to tear down the walls. It is simply about taking a lamp, the gentle, non-judgmental lamp of your own awareness, and beginning a tour. It is an act of profound self-respect, an archaeological dig into the heart of your own existence. This is the sacred work of knowing thyself. Let us begin in the grand foyer, the room you know best. This is your conscious mind. Its walls are decorated with the pictures of your current opinions, your skills, your plans for the week. The furniture is familiar, your habits, your routines, the stories you tell yourself and others. It is a well-lit, presentable space. Most of our interactions with the world come from this room. We invite people in, but only this far. We keep the doors to the rest of the house firmly closed. But today, you will not stop here. You will take your lamp of awareness and turn towards a long, dim hallway you have often ignored. This hallway is your subconscious. It is where the wiring of the whole house is hidden. As you walk, you begin to see the origins of your automatic reactions. Here is the circuit that makes you feel defensive when you perceive criticism. There is the switch that floods you with anxiety in unfamiliar social situations. You do not try to rip out the wires. You simply observe. So this is where that comes from. This is the mechanism. You walk with the patient curiosity of an explorer, mapping the unseen forces that have shaped your life. The hallway is long, and it has many doors. Some are slightly ajar. Others are bolted shut, with rust on their hinges. These locked doors are your suppressed emotions, your unprocessed experiences. Behind one, you may feel the faint, cold air of grief you never fully allowed yourself to feel. Behind another, the heat of an old, unexpressed anger. Behind a third, the chilling shadow of a deep-seated shame. As an adult, you have become an expert at walking past these doors, at pretending they do not exist. Your ego, the diligent security guard of the house, has assured you it is safer to keep them locked. But the energy trapped behind them leaks out. It seeps under the doors and influences the atmosphere of the entire house. It is the unexplained sadness that descends on a Tuesday afternoon. It is the flash of rage that is disproportionate to the situation. It is the nameless fear that holds you back from taking a risk. Your journey of exploration does not require you to take a crowbar to these doors. The lamp of your awareness is the only key you need. You simply stand before a locked door. You bring your attention to it. You feel its presence. You honor the pain it contains. You might place a hand on the old wood and whisper, "I see you. I know you are there. I am not afraid of you anymore." That is all. For now, that is enough. This simple act of acknowledgement is a profound act of love. It begins the slow, gentle process of integration. You are no longer at war with your own house. You are becoming its compassionate caretaker. As you continue your tour, you begin to notice the walls themselves. They are not bare. They are covered in ancient inscriptions, intricate carvings, and faded frescoes. These are your core beliefs, the foundational myths you have lived by. They were etched there so long ago, probably in your childhood, that you have mistaken them for the structure of reality itself. With your lamp, you can finally begin to read them. On one wall, a huge inscription reads, "I am not good enough." On another, "I must always be strong." In a darker corner, "The world is a dangerous place," or "I am not worthy of love." These are not your affirmations. These are the silent, powerful dogmas that have been running your life from the shadows. They dictate who you talk to, what jobs you take, how much love you let in. Reading them for the first time is a revelation. Again, the goal is not to scrape them off the walls. The goal is simply to see them, to recognize, this is not a fact. This is an inscription. This is a belief I inherited. The moment you see a belief as a belief, instead of as the truth, it begins to lose its power over you. You create a space between yourself and the inscription. You are no longer the carving. You are the one who is reading it. Why is this inner tour so vital for connection? Because everything you find in this house, the faulty wiring, the locked rooms, the inscriptions on the wallsys projected outward onto the people you meet. When you are not aware of the "I am not worthy" fresco in your own basement, you will interpret a neutral comment from another as proof of your unworthiness. When you have a locked room full of anger, another person's assertiveness will feel like an attack, rattling the door and causing you to react with force. You are not reacting to them. You are reacting to a ghost in your own house. But when you know your own architecture, when you have mapped your own inner world, you gain a new freedom. When a reaction arises, you can pause and recognize its source. Ah, this feeling is not about my partner. This is the echo from that locked room of childhood rejection. This is my "I am not safe" inscription being activated. This self-awareness is a superpower. It allows you to unhook from your own reactivity. It allows you to see the other person clearly, perhaps for the first time, without the filter of your own unexplored past. Your body is the physical blueprint of this temple. The locked doors and hidden inscriptions have a physical address. The unexpressed grief may live as a permanent weight in your chest. The old anger may be stored as chronic tension in your jaw and shoulders. The fear may reside as a knot in your stomach. As you do this inner work, use your body as a compass. When a strong emotion arises in conversation, bring your awareness to where it lives in your body. Breathe into that space. This is not about analysis. It is about feeling. The body does not lie. It will guide you directly to the parts of your inner architecture that are asking for your gentle attention. As we walk these ancient corridors together, lamp in hand, a new and even deeper question begins to form. After seeing all of this, the rooms, the wiring, the doors, the inscriptions, the ghosts, you must eventually ask, who am I in all of this? Am I this collection of broken furniture and beautiful art? Am I the sum of all these wounds and beliefs? It is a vital question, for if you believe you are the house, you will spend your life defending its crumbling walls and dusty rooms. But what if you are not the house at all? What if you are not the architecture? What if you are something far more vast, far more free? What if you are the silent, loving awareness in which the entire temple appears? We have walked the inner temple. We have stood before its locked doors and read the ancient inscriptions on its walls. And we are left with the most fundamental question of all. Who is the one walking? Who is this I that is aware of the architecture? Here, we arrive at the very heart of the journey, at a truth so simple and so profound that its realization can change everything in an instant. Here is that truth. You are not your mind. You are not your thoughts. You are not the narrator who has been speaking in your head for your entire life. This voice, this constant stream of commentary, judgment, memory, and speculation, is not the essence of who you are. To believe that it is the root of all suffering. To see it for what it is the beginning of all freedom. Think of your awareness, your true self, as the vast, open sky. It is limitless, deep, and eternally peaceful. Your thoughts, on the other hand, are the clouds. Clouds are transient. They are temporary formations of energy. They drift in, they take a shape for a while, and then they drift away. Some clouds are white and fluffy. Beautiful to look at. These are your happy thoughts, your creative ideas, your pleasant memories. Others are dark and heavy, full of rain and lightning. These are your fears, your anxieties, your resentments, your self-criticism. We have been taught to live our lives as if we are the clouds. When a dark cloud appears, we say, "I am sad." When an angry cloud forms, we say, "I am angry." We cling to the white clouds, desperately trying to hold on to them, and we run from the dark clouds, exhausting ourselves trying to fight them or push them away. We have completely identified with the weather, forgetting that we are the sky. The sky does not care about the weather. The sky is not affected by the clouds. A thunderstorm does not damage the sky. A beautiful sunset does not improve it. The sky simply allows all clouds to be, to come, and to go, because it knows they are not it. It is the vast, silent, unchanging space in which all weather happens. This is your true nature. You are the space for your thoughts. You are the silent witness that is aware of the voice in your head. The tragedy is that we have become so hypnotized by the clouds, we have forgotten the magnificent blue expanse that is our own being. The ego, the narrator, is a cloud worshipper. It builds its entire identity out of the most interesting and dramatic clouds it can find. It points to a dark storm cloud from the past and says, "That trauma is me." It points to a cloud formation of political or religious beliefs and says, "That ideology is me." It weaves these clouds together into a story, the story of me, and it spends its entire existence defending this story and fearing its collapse. But a story made of clouds is a fragile thing, and to live as this story is to live in a state of constant, underlying fear. Let us put this into practice. This is not a philosophy to be believed. It is a reality to be experienced. For a moment, just become still. Close your eyes if it helps. Now, simply wait for the next thought to arise. Do not try to create one. Just wait and watch. Sooner or later, a thought will appear, a memory, a worry, a line from a song, a judgment about this exercise. When it appears, do not get on the train. Do not follow it. Simply look at it. Acknowledge its presence, as if you were a scientist noticing a specimen. And now, ask this pivotal question. Who is aware of this thought? There is the thought, and there is the one who sees the thought. Are they the same? In that small gap between the thought and the awareness of it lies your freedom. That awareness, that silent seer, that is closer to who you are than any thought could ever be. That is the sky. The thought is just another cloud. Practice this throughout your day. Become a thought watcher. As you drive, as you work, as you wash the dishes, notice the stream of thinking. Notice the narrator. Listen to it as you would listen to the traffic outside your windows, something that is happening, but not something that is you. Do not argue with it. Do not try to stop it. Just notice it. Ah, there is the mind, doing its thing again. There it is, worrying about the future. There it is, replaying that old conversation. When you do this, something magical happens. The voice begins to lose its power. It is no longer the absolute authority, the voice of reality. It becomes just a voice, a mental habit. You have unplugged yourself from its hypnotic power. You have disidentified. You have remembered that you are the sky, and you are simply watching the weather of your mind. What does this have to do with connection? Everything. When you are fused with your thoughts, you cannot connect with another human being. You can only connect with your thoughts about them. You look at them, but you do not see them. You see your labels. My mother, my boss, that difficult person, the one who hurt me. These labels are just bundles of old thoughts. You listen to them, but you do not hear them. You hear your own mind's running commentary. I agree with that. I don't agree with that. He shouldn't say that. I wonder what she wants from me. Your entire interaction is a conversation between your narrator and your idea of their narrator. It is a dreamlike state, a meeting of two ghosts. There is no real contact. But when you discover the space of awareness within you, when you learn to rest as the sky, you can allow another person to be who they are, without needing them to fit into your mental boxes. You can listen without the constant filter of your own inner commentary. Your mind may still produce judgments, but you don't have to believe them. You can let them float by like any other cloud. This creates a space of pure presence, a space of acceptance. The other person feels this. On a deep, energetic level, they feel that they are truly being seen, perhaps for the first time. They are not being judged, analyzed, or categorized. They are simply being allowed to be. This is the greatest gift of intimacy you can offer. This disidentification also frees you from the tyranny of your own emotional reactions. When someone criticizes you, your mind may produce a storm of angry or defensive thoughts. Before, you were that storm. Now, you are the sky that is holding the storm. You can feel the energy of the anger. You can see the lightning flash of the thoughts, but you are not lost in it. You have a choice. You can let the storm rage and pass, without letting it dictate your words or actions. You remain anchored in the stillness of the sky. This is emotional freedom. This is the ability to respond with wisdom rather than react from conditioning. So let the narrator narrate. Let the mind think. Do not make it your enemy. Simply withdraw your belief in it as being who you are. Your identity is not in the fleeting cloud. Your identity is in the eternal sky. Rest there, abide there. From this place of spacious stillness, you are no longer a walking bundle of concepts and memories. You are a field of presence. And now, having remembered that you are this vast, open space, you can finally turn towards another and offer them the most healing thing in the universe, a space to be heard, a space to be held, a space to simply be. You are ready to master the true art of listening, the art of listening with stillness. You have remembered your nature as the silent sky, the vast, aware space in which all thoughts and feelings arise and pass away. This is the greatest discovery a human being can make. Now, we learn how to live from this discovery. We learn how to offer this spaciousness to another. This is where the inner journey becomes an act of love, where solitude transforms into connection. We learn the art of listening with stillness. It is an art that will change not only your relationships, but the very fabric of your being. First, we must understand what most of us call listening is not listening at all. It is a form of waiting. It is the ego's frantic, self-centered activity disguised as receptivity. We listen in order to reply, our minds racing to formulate the smartest, wittiest, or most helpful response. We listen in order to judge, filtering everything the other person says through our rigid grid of right and wrong, good and bad. We listen in order to fix, putting on the costume of the expert, eager to dispense advice and solve their problems, which only reinforces our own sense of importance. We listen through the dense fog of our own past, constantly searching for hooks to hang our own stories on, making their experience a mere footnote to our own. All of these modes are driven by the noisy ego, the narrator in the head. None of them involve true connection. None of them are the art of listening. To listen with stillness is to offer something else entirely. It is to become a space, not a reactor. The most potent metaphor for this is to see your awareness not just as the sky, but as a deep, perfectly still mountain lake. When your mind is turbulent, when you are caught in the activity of thinking, judging, and preparing, your lake is choppy. Any reflection that appears on its surface is fragmented, distorted, and unrecognizable. The other person cannot see themselves in you. They only see the chaos of your own inner state. But when you practice stillness, when you consciously choose to let go of your inner monologue and rest in pure awareness, the surface of your lake becomes like glass. It becomes a perfect mirror. It adds nothing, it subtracts nothing, it distorts nothing. It simply, purely, and perfectly reflects whatever appears before it. To be this still lake for another person is the most profound act of generosity. It is to say to them, without words, I am fully here for you. There is nothing I need from this interaction other than to offer you this space. You are safe here. Your thoughts are safe here. Your feelings are safe here. Even your confusion is safe here. You can be completely and utterly yourself, and I will not try to change you. I will simply be the mirror that allows you to see yourself with new clarity. This is not a passive act. It is an act of immense, focused presence. It is a spiritual discipline. It begins with an intention. Before you enter a conversation, especially an important one, take a moment, set a silent intention. For the duration of this conversation, my primary purpose is not to be heard, but to hear. My goal is not to be interesting, but to be interested. My function is to be the space for this person. This simple intention shifts your entire energetic posture. Then, as the conversation begins, anchor yourself. Keep a sliver of your attention, perhaps 10%, on your own inner body. Feel the sensation of your hands. Feel the air moving in and out of your lungs. Feel the contact of your body with the chair. This inner anchor is crucial. It keeps you grounded in the present moment. It prevents you from being completely pulled into the other person's story, or more importantly, into your own mind's reaction to their story. You are an anchored ship, not a small boat tossed about on the waves of conversation. From this anchored place, you listen with your entire being. Your ears hear the words, but your stillness perceives much more. You perceive the emotion behind the words. You feel the subtle energy of their joy, their pain, their fear. You notice the slight hesitation before they speak a difficult truth. You sense the conviction or the uncertainty in their tone. You are no longer just decoding language. You are communing with a soul. You are listening to the unspoken song beneath the spoken words. Your quiet mind has become so sensitive that it can perceive the delicate nuances of another's inner world, nuances that are completely invisible to a noisy mind. When a pause comes, you learn to love it. You do not rush in to fill it with chatter. You honor it. You let it breathe. This shared silence is not awkward. It is sacred. It is a moment of deep, non-verbal communication. In that space, the other person is subconsciously absorbing your acceptance. They are feeling your presence. Often, in these sacred pauses, they will find their own way forward. The answer they were seeking from you arises from within themselves, simply because you provided the quiet space for it to be born. You have done more for them by doing nothing than you ever could, by offering 1,000 pieces of advice. The effect this has on another person is nothing short of miraculous. To be truly seen and heard is a fundamental human need, a need that is rarely met. When you offer this gift, walls come down, defenses melt away, trust is born. People will find themselves sharing things with you that they have never told anyone, not because you asked, but because your silence invited their truth to the surface. They feel safe to be vulnerable because your stillness is not judging their vulnerability. You become a sanctuary in human form. And this practice is a gift to you as well. When you listen from a place of stillness, you are no longer a sponge, soaking up the difficult emotions of others. You are the still lake. The reflection of their anger appears on your surface, but it does not become your water. The reflection of their sadness is seen, but it does not muddy your depths. You remain clear. You can engage in the most difficult conversations without feeling drained, depleted, or personally attacked. You are no longer a participant in the drama. You are the peaceful space in which the drama is allowed to unfold. This is the end of social exhaustion. This art is not about becoming a silent wall. There will be times to speak, to share, to offer a perspective. But when you do speak from this place of stillness, your words will have a different quality. They will be infused with the peace and clarity you have cultivated. They will be responsive, not reactive. They will land with wisdom and compassion because they are born not from the frantic mind, but from the deep, quiet heart of presence. So practice this. In your very next conversation, choose to become the still lake. Let go of the need to do anything. Simply be, and watch what happens. You will find that this silent, still presence is not silent at all. It is a powerful communication in its own right. It is a broadcast. It is a signal you send out into the world, a signal of safety, peace, and acceptance that changes everything around you. You begin to radiate a new energetic signature. You have become the still lake, the silent sky. You have learned to listen not with the frantic mind, but with the whole of your being. This practice, this inner posture of stillness, is not merely a passive state of receptivity. It is the most powerful and active transmission you can possibly generate. The silence you cultivate is not an absence of energy. It is energy in its most pure, potent, and coherent form. It is the foundation of your energetic signature, the invisible broadcast that defines your reality far more than your words or actions ever could. To understand this is to move from being a pawn in the game of life to a conscious player, a master of the subtle forces that shape our world. Imagine that you are a living broadcasting station. This is not a fanciful metaphor. It is the closest description our language can offer for a fundamental reality of existence. Every mystic has taught it, and quantum physics now whispers of its truth. Everything in the universe, at its core, is vibration. You are not a solid, static object. You are a field of energy, a symphony of frequencies, constantly sending out a signal into the vast, interconnected field of the cosmos. This signal is your energetic signature. It is the silent song of your being, and the universe is constantly listening. Other people are constantly listening, though they are rarely aware of what they are hearing. They feel it in their gut, in their heart. They feel your song. What precisely is this broadcast made of? It is multi-layered, like a complex piece of music. The part we pay the most attention to is the least significant. These are the surface-level frequencies, the treble notes, the specific thoughts in your head, and the words that leave your mouth. We spend our lives polishing these words, arranging these thoughts, believing they are the message we are sending, but they are merely the decorative melody. Beneath them lies a deeper layer, the harmony and rhythm section, your dominant emotional state. This is the mood that colors your days: a subtle, chronic anxiety, a quiet background of resentment, a gentle hum of joy, a persistent feeling of lack. This emotional frequency carries far more weight and power than your fleeting thoughts. It is the emotional weather you carry with you from room to room. But even deeper than that, at the very foundation of your broadcast, is the carrier wave. This is the most powerful and most fundamental aspect of your signature. It is your core state of being. It is the frequency generated by your relationship with the present moment itself. Is your being rooted in presence, in the stillness of the sky? Or is it rooted in resistance, in the constant, noisy chatter of the ego? A state of peace, acceptance, and connection to the vastness of your inner space creates a high-frequency, clear, and powerful carrier wave. A state of identification with the mind, of inner conflict and separation, creates a low-frequency, distorted, and weak carrier wave. This foundational wave is everything. You can speak the most beautiful words of love, But if your carrier wave is one of fear and insecurity, the universe and the people around you will not hear the words. They will hear the fear. They will respond to the broadcast, not the script. This is the secret language of life. This is why a person's presence can feel so calming or so unsettling, regardless of what they say or do. You are feeling their signature. You are hearing their carrier wave. Now, let us examine the quality of the signal itself. Most of humanity is broadcasting a deeply incoherent signal. This is the broadcast of the ego, the echo chamber. It is like a radio station trying to play 3 different songs at the same time, all in different keys. The ego wants love, but the dominant emotional frequency is a fear of intimacy, and the carrier wave is a deep belief in being separate and unworthy. The ego wants abundance, but the emotional frequency is one of constant worry and lack, and the carrier wave is a belief that the universe is a hostile, scarce place. The words and affirmations say one thing, but the deep, powerful energies of being and feeling say the exact opposite. The result is a chaotic, static-filled, and confusing broadcast. This incoherent signature creates a life of friction, struggle, and confusion. It attracts experiences that are just as contradictory and chaotic as the signal itself. You meet people who reflect your own inner conflict back at you. You find yourself in situations that seem to block the very things you claim to want. This is not the universe punishing you. It is the law of resonance in perfect operation. The universe is not a thinking entity that judges your words. It is a vibrational field that mirrors your energy. It can only send you experiences that are a vibrational match to your broadcast. Sending out a signal of inner conflict can only attract outer conflict. This is not a curse. It is a perfect, impartial feedback system designed to show you the state of your own inner world. Contrast this with the coherent signature. This is the broadcast of a person who is learning to live from a place of presence. This is the signal you are cultivating through the art of stillness. In a coherent broadcast, the layers of the symphony are in harmony. The state of being is one of peace and presence, creating a powerful, high-frequency carrier wave. The dominant emotions are increasingly those of gratitude, compassion, and acceptance. And the thoughts and words that arise from this foundation are naturally aligned with it. There is no contradiction, there is no inner conflict. The desire for love is broadcast on a carrier wave of self-acceptance and connection. The desire for well-being is broadcast on a carrier wave of inner peace. This coherent signal is like a laser beam, where all the particles of light are moving in perfect unison. It is focused, powerful, and has the ability to create profound change with minimal effort. When you embody this kind of signature, you become an organizing principle in the universe. Your presence alone can bring calm to a chaotic room. Your stillness can invite truth from a person who is lost in deception. You attract people and circumstances that are in resonance with your clarity and peace. This is not about being lucky. It is about being a clear channel. The right people, the right opportunities, the right insights, they are not things you must chase. They are things that are drawn into the powerful, coherent field of your presence. This also explains the shifts that happen in your relationships as you deepen your spiritual practice. When your coherent signature meets another coherent signature, there is resonance. It feels like music. The connection is effortless, nourishing, and expansive. When your coherent signature meets an incoherent one, however, something else happens. For the person who is open, your presence can be a gift. It can be a tuning fork that helps their own chaotic energy to find a moment of harmony. They feel peaceful around you, even if they don't know why. But for the person who is deeply attached to their ego's drama, to their inner conflict and negativity, your presence is intensely uncomfortable. Your clarity is a threat to their confusion. Your peace is an intolerable mirror to their inner turmoil. They may lash out, become critical, or simply feel a powerful urge to get away from you. They are not rejecting you. Their ego is rejecting the frequency of presence because it threatens its very existence. And so, without any fight or drama, some relationships will naturally fall away. They simply cannot exist in the new frequency you inhabit. The most empowering realization in all of this is that you are the station manager. You are not the signal. You are the one who chooses the signal. You are not a victim of your own energetic state. You are its cultivator. So how do you consciously and deliberately cultivate a more coherent and powerful energetic signature? You cannot fake it. You cannot simply decide to broadcast peace while your inner world is at war. The work is always an inside job. It is the work of tuning your own instrument. The master key, as always, is the practice of stillness. Every moment you spend disidentifying from your thoughts and resting in the silent awareness of the sky, you are polishing your carrier wave. You are returning your primary frequency to its factory setting of pure, peaceful presence. This is the most important work you can ever do. Secondly, you engage in emotional alchemy. When a negative emotion like fear or anger arises, you do not suppress it, which would only create more inner conflict, nor do you indulge it, which would amplify its chaotic broadcast. Instead, you apply the principles of stillness. You allow the emotion to be there, as pure energy within your body, while you rest as the non-judgmental witness. You hold the emotion in the compassionate container of your awareness. When you do this, the energy of the emotion is metabolized. It is integrated. Its dissonant frequency is resolved back into the harmony of your being. Thirdly, you actively generate coherent frequencies. Gratitude is not just a polite sentiment. It is one of the most powerful and coherent frequencies you can broadcast. The conscious practice of feeling gratitude for the simple facts of your existence, for your breath, for the sky, for the feeling of water on your skin is an act of vibrational hygiene. It cleanses your field and tunes your signature to the frequency of abundance and grace. Appreciation and compassion are similar frequency generators. Where the ego scans the world for what is wrong, presence scans the world for what can be loved. Finally, see your life as the ultimate form of biofeedback. The world is your mirror. The people and situations you encounter are not random. They are a perfect reflection of the song you are singing. If your life is filled with drama and conflict, look for the frequencies of drama and conflict within your own signature. If your life is filled with grace and synchronicity, acknowledge the coherent signal you are broadcasting. Do not use this as another tool for self-judgment. Use it as a compassionate diagnostic tool. Your life is a constant, loving invitation from the universe to look within, to tune your instrument, and to broadcast an ever more beautiful and harmonious song. But what happens when we try to override this authentic broadcast? What happens when our inner signature is one of fear, but we put on a brave face? What happens when we feel insecure, but we project an air of arrogance? This leads us to the great performance of human life, the world of the persona. It leads us to the profound and often painful gap between the face of our being and the mask of our personality. We have explored the nature of the energetic signature, the inescapable truth of your inner state that broadcasts itself to the world. It is the song of your soul, a frequency of peace or of turmoil. And yet, from our earliest years, we are handed a set of tools and taught a craft that has one primary purpose: to interfere with this broadcast. We are taught to manage the signal, to filter it, to present a more acceptable version to the world. We are taught, in essence, how to construct and maintain a mask. This is the birth of the personality, and the journey toward authentic connection is the journey of understanding the difference between this carefully constructed mask and the true face of your being that lies beneath it. The personality, or the persona, is not who you are. It is a survival strategy It is a psychological costume assembled piece by piece from the scraps of your experience. A piece is added when you are praised for being a good girl or a brave boy. Another piece is added when you are shamed for expressing anger or fear. It learns what to say, how to act, and what to reveal in order to navigate the complex social world. Its primary function is to protect the soft, vulnerable core of your being from the perceived dangers of judgment, ridicule, and rejection. At the same time, it seeks to attract rewards, approval, status, security, and what it believes to be love. We all have a wardrobe of these masks. There is the professional mask, competent, efficient, and emotionally detached. There is the family mask, the dutiful son, the caring mother, the funny uncle. There is the social mask, charming, witty, and agreeable. We become expert, quick change artists, seamlessly switching between these personas depending on our audience. The most potent way to understand this is to see your personality as the clothes you wear. Your true self, the face of being, is your naked body. There is nothing inherently wrong with wearing clothes. They are necessary, they are functional, they can be a beautiful form of self-expression, they protect you from the elements. But the great tragedy of the human condition is that we have been wearing our clothes for so long, we have forgotten we are not the clothes. We wake up in the morning, put on the costume, and forget that there is a living, breathing, vulnerable body underneath. We have mistaken the mask for our real face. The actor has become completely lost in the role. The cost of this constant performance is immense. It requires a phenomenal, continuous output of life energy. Think of the sheer effort involved in maintaining a mask. You must constantly monitor yourself. Is my expression correct? Was that the right thing to say? How are they perceiving me? You must censor your spontaneous impulses. You must calculate your words. You must manage the impressions of others. This is why so much social interaction leaves us feeling utterly exhausted. It is not the connection that drains us. It is the performance. It is the non-stop, thankless job of being the security guard for our own prison. This performance creates a fundamental and draining inner conflict, a state of energetic dissonance. Your being, your authentic energetic signature, is broadcasting one truth. It might be broadcasting the frequency of insecurity, of sadness, of a deep longing for rest. But your personality, the mask, is working overtime to project the opposite. It forces a smile, it puffs out its chest, it speaks with a confident tone. This creates a deeply incoherent signal. You are broadcasting two different stations on the same channel. And people can feel this. They may not be able to articulate it, but they sense the incongruity. It registers as a feeling of unease, a sense of something being off. It is why a person can say all the right things, but you are still left with a feeling of distrust. You are picking up on the dissonance between the mask and the face, between the contrived personality and the authentic being. This is how the mask, designed to help us gain connection, becomes the very thing that prevents it. True, soulful connection does not happen between two personalities. It cannot. It can only happen between two beings. When two masks interact, it is a hollow affair. It is a meeting of two meticulously crafted puppets. They exchange pleasantries. They follow social scripts. They perform their roles flawlessly. But there is no communion. There is no warmth. There is no real meeting of souls. It is a transaction, not a transformation. And when someone praises or loves your mask, it is a hollow victory that brings only anxiety. Because deep down, a part of you knows the truth. They do not love you. They love the costume you are wearing. This reinforces the terrifying core belief that the real you, the naked being underneath, must be unlovable. And so, in a tragic, self-fulfilling prophecy, you cling even tighter to the mask, convinced that it is your only hope, while it is in fact the very source of your isolation. So what is this face of being that lies beneath? It is not another, better personality. It is not a fixed thing at all. The face of being is the quality of your presence when you are not trying to be anybody. It is the awareness that is looking out through your eyes when you have dropped the story of me. It is vulnerable, yes, because it has no defenses. But it is also unshakably powerful because it has nothing to prove and nothing to hide. It is the stillness of the sky, the quiet of the lake. It is you before you were told who you should be. It is the simple, dignified presence of your own existence. To let this face be seen is the path to freedom. This does not mean you must commit social suicide. It is not about suddenly becoming tactless or inappropriate. It is not about discarding all social graces. It is a much more subtle, gentle, and internal process of unmasking. It begins, as all true change does, with awareness. Simply start to notice your masks as you wear them. In a meeting, you might notice, here is my I need to sound intelligent mask. With a parent, here is my I must be a good son mask. Do not judge it, do not hate it. See it with compassion. It was created by a younger part of you to help you survive. Thank it for its service. The next step is to consciously, in small, safe moments, choose to let the mask down just a little. It might be allowing a moment of genuine silence instead of filling the space with a nervous joke. It might be admitting, I don't know the answer to that, instead of pretending you do. It might be expressing a simple, honest feeling, I feel a little tired today, instead of the automatic, I'm fine, thanks. These are tiny acts of authenticity, but they are revolutionary. Each time you choose the simple truth over the complex performance, you weaken the grip of the persona. You tell your own nervous system that it is safe to be real. You allow a little more of the light of your being to shine through the cracks in the mask. With every such act, you risk the very things the mask was designed to prevent. You risk being misunderstood. You risk being judged. You risk being rejected. And this is where the journey requires more than just awareness. It requires a different quality altogether. It requires the willingness to be vulnerable, to stand in your own truth without armor, and to trust that your authentic being is more resilient than any mask you could ever construct. This is not the brute force of the ego. This is the quiet, dignified, and unshakable power of the heart. It is the courage to finally, truly be seen. You have seen the mask. You have felt the profound difference between the calculated performance of the personality and the simple, authentic presence of your being. You stand at a crossroads, with a deep yearning to live from that place of truth. But as you take the first step toward removing the mask, you feel a powerful, instinctual resistance. It is the cold grip of fear. It is the voice of every old wound whispering, don't do it, it isn't safe, they will hurt you again. This fear is the guardian of your armor, and to walk the path of authentic connection, you must learn the nature of this armor, and you must find the courage to begin, piece by piece, to take it off. This courage has a name, and it is a word our culture has profoundly misunderstood. That word is vulnerability. We have been taught that to be vulnerable is to be weak, to be defenseless, to be a victim in waiting. We equate it with neediness, with emotional messiness, with a lack of control. But this is a lie. It is a lie perpetuated by the ego to keep us locked safely and miserably inside our armor. True vulnerability is not weakness. It is the most honest measure of your courage. It is the radical act of showing up in your life as you are, without the guarantee of a particular outcome. It is emotional honesty, a willingness to feel what you feel and to allow it to be seen. It is the raw, unarmored truth of your own humanity. Think of your heart as the soft, vital core of your being. Early in life, you experienced pain, rejection, criticism, abandonment. And so, with the intuitive genius of a child trying to survive, you began to forge a suit of armor around your heart. The first time you were shamed for crying, you forged a breastplate of stoicism. The first time you were ridiculed for a creative idea, you forged a helmet of cynicism. Sarcasm became your sharp-bladed gauntlets. Intellectualism became your impenetrable visor. Aloofness, people-pleasing, perfectionism each was a carefully crafted piece of steel designed for one purpose: to ensure that your soft, tender heart would never be wounded in that same way again. And in a limited sense, the armor works. It deflects insults. It keeps difficult people at a distance. It presents an image of strength and control. But the cost of this protection is astronomical. First, the armor is unimaginably heavy. It takes a constant, draining effort to hold it up, to move through the world encased in steel. This is the source of a deep and nameless exhaustion that so many feel. It is the weight of your own defenses. Second, the armor isolates you completely. It protects you from pain, yes, but it also seals you off from everything else. Love cannot penetrate steel. Joy cannot seep through the cracks. Intimacy, tenderness, true connection, these gentle energies bounce harmlessly off your defenses. You are safe inside your fortress, but you are also a prisoner, unable to feel the warmth of the sun or the simple grace of a human touch. You cannot be truly loved when you are wearing armor, because the one being loved is the armor itself, not the real you hidden deep inside. The courage to be seen is the courageous decision to begin removing this armor. This is not a reckless act. You do not charge onto a battlefield and strip yourself bare. That is not courage, that is foolishness. The process is gentle, conscious, and discerning. It begins with yourself. It begins by taking off the armor when you are alone, by allowing yourself to feel your own feelings without judgment. It is the vulnerability of admitting your own fear, your own sadness, your own longing to yourself. This is the first and most important step. Then, you begin to test the waters with others. You choose people who have shown themselves to be trustworthy, people who have earned the right to see a little more of you. You don't start by taking off the entire breastplate. You start small. You remove a single gauntlet by sharing a genuine feeling instead of a rehearsed opinion. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed today. You remove the helmet for a moment by saying, I'm not sure I know the answer. You see what happens. You notice that the sky doesn't fall. The world doesn't end. In fact, you often find that this small act of authenticity is met not with ridicule, but with a corresponding act of authenticity from the other person. Your vulnerability becomes an invitation. It is a silent permission slip for them to be real too. This is the great paradox. Your vulnerability is what creates safety. Your willingness to be seen is what allows trust to be built. When you have the courage to show your imperfections, your uncertainties, your authentic humanity, it signals to others that they don't have to be perfect either. The whole tense charade of impression management can finally be laid to rest. In its place, something real can begin to grow. Intimacy, which at its root means into me see, becomes possible. You are letting someone see into you, and you are creating a space where you can see into them. This is the sacred ground of connection. It is vital, however, to distinguish this authentic vulnerability from its counterfeit cousin, emotional dumping. Vulnerability is not making other people responsible for your feelings. It is not boundaryless complaining, victimhood, or using another person as a receptacle for your unprocessed trauma. That is not connection, it is codependence. Authentic vulnerability is rooted in self-responsibility. It is sharing your experience from a place of I, not you. It is the difference between you make me feel insignificant, which is an attack, and I feel insignificant when this happens, which is a vulnerable sharing of your inner state. The first builds walls, the second builds bridges. To choose this path is to redefine your understanding of strength. The strength of the armor is brittle, it is rigid. Under enough pressure, it shatters. But the strength of the vulnerable heart is resilient. It is flexible, like a deeply rooted willow tree that can bend in the fiercest storm and not break. When your self-worth is no longer dependent on external approval, when you are no longer terrified of being seen as imperfect, you become truly powerful. Criticism may still sting, but it no longer has the power to shatter you. Rejection may still hurt, but it does not annihilate your sense of self. You have found a source of strength within you that is not contingent on the world outside. You have come home to the quiet, unshakable dignity of your own being. This courageous act of removing the armor, of allowing your true face to be seen, is more than just a psychological process. It is a profound, energetic event. Every piece of armor you wear is a filter, a muffler, a distortion field placed over your true, energetic signature. It is an attempt to mute your authentic broadcast. When you choose vulnerability, you are consciously choosing to remove that interference. You are making the decision to broadcast your true frequency into the universe with clarity and without apology. You are choosing to speak the truth, not just with your words, but with the very energy of your being. This act of personal courage is your first lesson in speaking the native language of the cosmos. It is the language of pure, unfiltered frequency. The act of removing your armor, of choosing vulnerability, is a declaration. It is a decision to stop jamming your own signal. In that moment of courageous authenticity, you cease speaking the thousand confusing dialects of the human ego, and you begin to whisper in the mother tongue of all existence. For the language of the universe is not words or numbers, it is not logic or reason. The native language of the cosmos, the invisible thread that weaves together stars and souls, is frequency. To understand this is to hold the key not just to connection, but to creation itself. At the very foundation of reality, there is only vibration. The chair you feel beneath you, solid and stable, is a field of atoms vibrating at a specific, slow frequency. The light that allows you to see is a field of photons vibrating at a much higher frequency. The thoughts that pass through your mind are subtle electrical impulses, each with its own vibrational characteristic. Your emotions are waves of chemical and energetic information that surge through your body, each with a distinct and palpable frequency. The heavy, slow thrum of grief is vastly different from the light, rapid vibration of joy. Everything, from the densest rock to the most ethereal idea, is energy in motion. This is the unifying principle of the cosmos. The most useful way to grasp this is to imagine the universe as an infinite field of potential, an endless radio broadcast. Every possible experience, every possible reality, exists right now as a specific frequency band within this broadcast. There is a frequency for lack and a frequency for abundance. There is a frequency for resentment and a frequency for forgiveness. There is a frequency for soul-deep connection and a frequency for painful isolation. All of these stations are broadcasting simultaneously all the time. The universe is not withholding anything from you. The symphony of joy is playing right now. The broadcast of perfect peace is on the air right now. Your personal energetic signature, your dominant state of being, is the tuner on your radio. The frequency you are broadcasting is the frequency you are receiving. This is the immutable law of resonance. You simply cannot experience a reality for which you are not a vibrational match. You cannot hear the clear, beautiful music playing on the 99.9 FM station of love and connection if your own dial is rusted and stuck on the 87.0 AM station of I am not worthy, or people will only hurt me. You will only hear the static and the sad songs playing on that particular frequency, and you will believe that is all that exists on the airwaves. This is why the direct, effortful striving for connection so often fails. When you feel lonely and you go out into the world with the desperate need to connect, what frequency are you broadcasting? You are broadcasting the frequency of lack. You are broadcasting the frequency of neediness. You are a radio tuner set firmly to the I am isolated station, and so, by the perfect and impersonal law of resonance, you will attract experiences that match that vibration. You will meet people who are unavailable, who do not see you, or who mirror your own feelings of isolation back to you, reinforcing your belief that connection is impossible. The very effort you make, born from a place of lack, pushes away the thing you desire. It is like trying to grab a reflection in the water. The more you grasp, the more you disturb the surface, and the more the image dissolves. The great secret, then, is to stop trying to manipulate the reflection and instead work on the source. You stop chasing connection and you begin to cultivate it within. Your work is not to go out and find the right station. Your work is to become the tuning fork that resonates with the station you desire. You want to experience love? You must become a vibrational match for love by cultivating love, compassion, and acceptance within your own being. You want to experience peace? You must do the inner work required to become a resonant field of peace. You turn your attention away from what the world is or isn't giving you, and you turn it toward the quality of your own broadcast. This is the great alchemy. You become the thing you seek, and in doing so, you draw it to you effortlessly. This reframes all the inner work we have discussed. The practice of stillness is not just a stress reduction technique. It is a daily act of returning your tuner to its 0 point, to the clear foundational frequency of pure consciousness. The act of emotional alchemy, of holding difficult feelings in your awareness until they dissolve, is an act of clearing your own static. The courage of vulnerability is the act of turning up the volume on your authentic signal. These are not just psychological adjustments, they are vibrational calibrations. Your heart is the most powerful electromagnetic broadcasting antenna in your body. The field it generates is many times stronger than that of the brain. When you consciously cultivate heart-centered states, you are taking direct, manual control of your broadcasting tower. The feeling of gratitude is not a mere platitude. It is a high-frequency signal that resonates with the well-being of the universe. The feeling of compassion is not just a noble ideal. It is a coherent wave of energy that dissolves the illusion of separation. Spending even 5 minutes a day deliberately generating these feelings from your heart center is like hiring the best engineer to overhaul your broadcasting equipment. You are cleaning your signal, boosting your power, and clarifying your message to the cosmos. As you begin to live from this understanding, the desperate struggle ceases. The frantic effort subsides. You realize that your only real work is to tend to the garden of your own inner state. You trust that if you cultivate a frequency of peace, the law of resonance must and will bring you experiences that match that peace. You begin to notice synchronicities, moments of effortless flow. The person you were just thinking of calls you. The book with the answer you need falls off a shelf. You have a conversation that feels like coming home. This is not magic. This is physics. It is the universe responding to a clear, coherent, unconflicted signal. Your rational mind may resist this. The ego wants a 5-step plan it can control. It trusts in action, in effort, in manipulation. This path asks for trust in the invisible. It asks you to believe that the state of your being is a more powerful agent of change than the force of your doing. So do not take it on blind faith. Treat it as a sacred experiment. For 1 week, let go of trying to change anyone or anything outside of you. Make your one and only priority the tending of your own frequency. Through stillness, gratitude, and presence, cultivate a feeling of inner peace as your dominant state. Then, simply watch. Observe the quality of your interactions. Notice the ideas and opportunities that flow into your awareness. Be the scientist of your own consciousness. See what happens when you stop shouting at the world in the language of the ego and start whispering to it in the language of frequency. When you master this inner tuning, you realize that every element of your expression is a tool for creation. The language of frequency is vast and silent, but it has a powerful and tangible manifestation we use every single day. If the universe is a fertile, vibrational field, then the words we speak are not just descriptive labels. They are vibrational seeds, potent incantations we cast out into the world with the power to plant gardens or to sow weeds. Your every word is a spell, and now we must learn to become conscious sorcerers. You have attuned yourself to the great cosmic law, the truth that the universe is a vibrational field that speaks and listens in the language of frequency. Now, you must awaken to the awesome power you wield within this field. You must understand that you are not a passive receiver of cosmic broadcasts. You are a primary creator, a director of energy. And the most common, most intimate, and most potent tool of creation you possess is the very breath that carries your voice. Your words are not dead things. They are not mere labels for a pre-existing reality. Your words are alive. They are vibrational packets of immense creative potential. Every word you utter is a seed, imbued with the complete blueprint for a future experience. Every sentence you speak is a planting, a deliberate act of agriculture in the fertile soil of consciousness. You are, and have always been, the master gardener of your own reality. The conditions of your life are not a matter of luck or circumstance. They are your harvest. Look at your life. Look at your relationships, your health, your sense of well-being. This is your garden. This is the result of the seeds you have been planting, day after day, year after year, with the words you have spoken and the thoughts you have entertained. The soil of consciousness is utterly impartial. It is infinitely fertile and eternally receptive. It holds no judgment. It will grow poison ivy with the same effortless efficiency as it will grow a fruit tree. Its only function is to receive the seed and to bring it forth into form. It has no choice in the matter. The choice belongs entirely to you, the gardener. When you speak words of judgment, resentment, and criticism, you are consciously choosing to plant seeds of discord. Do not be surprised then when your garden is overrun with the weeds of conflict and the thorns of separation. When you speak words of lack, of complaint, of "I can't," you are planting seeds of limitation. Do not be surprised when your harvest is one of scarcity and frustration. It is the law. The harvest does not lie. You tend to two gardens simultaneously. The first and most crucial is your inner garden. This is the soil of your own mind, tilled and planted by the constant stream of your self-talk. This is where the most powerful seeds are sown. Listen to yourself for a single hour. What do you hear? "I'm so tired. I always mess things up. I'm just not good at this. I'll never find someone." Each of these phrases is a potent seed. It is a command you are giving to your subconscious mind and to the universe. You are instructing your body to be tired. You are commanding your circumstances to arrange themselves into failure. You are decreeing your own unworthiness. You have become an expert at cultivating a garden of despair, and then you stand in the midst of it and wonder why you are not happy. The most sacred and powerful act of self-love is to become a conscious gardener of your inner world. It is to stand guard at the gate of your mind and to refuse entry to any seed you do not wish to see grow. It is to deliberately, with focused intention, choose to plant seeds of life. When the old habit of "I can't" arises, you catch it. You hold it in your hand and you choose to plant "I am learning" or "I am capable" instead. When the thought "I am unworthy" appears, you refuse to water it with your belief. Instead, you plant the powerful seed of "I am deserving of all good things." To change your self-talk is not a superficial act of positive thinking. It is the fundamental work of redesigning your reality from the inside out. You are landscaping your own soul. The second is your outer garden, the world of your relationships, which you cultivate with the words you speak to and about others. When you engage in gossip, when you speak words that diminish, criticize, or condemn another person, you may believe you are simply describing them, but you are not. You are planting seeds. The universe, in its vibrational wisdom, does not hear he is a failure. It hears the potent, creative seed sound failure being broadcast from your energy field, and as you are the broadcaster, it delivers a harvest of failure into your own experience. To curse another is to curse yourself. To judge another is to draw judgment upon yourself. This is not a moral punishment, it is a vibrational echo. The frequency you send out is the frequency that returns. Conversely, to speak words of blessing, appreciation, and encouragement over another person is one of the fastest ways to cultivate a beautiful life for yourself. When you genuinely say to someone, "I see your strength," you are planting the seed of strength in your own consciousness. When you say, "You are so creative," you are watering the seed of creativity in your own garden. To bless the world is to bless yourself. To see the good in others and to speak it aloud is to command the universe to bring more good into your own life. At the very heart of this creative power are the two most potent words in the human language, I am. These two words are a direct statement of being. They are the name of God within you, the voice of pure, creative consciousness. Whatever you attach to I am, you become. The universe has no choice but to bring it into being, for you have declared it as your reality. Ponder the awesome, terrifying power of this. How have you been using your I am? I am sick. I am broke. I am lonely. I am stressed. You have been using the divine name to command misery into existence. You have been decreeing your own limitations. The work of a conscious creator is to become a disciplined guardian of these two sacred words. It is to refuse to attach the creative power of I am to anything you do not wish to be. It is to have the discipline, when you feel sick, to declare I am healthy. When you feel fear, to declare I am safe. This is not a denial of your current circumstances. It is a declaration of a higher truth. It is the act of planting the seed of your desired reality directly on top of the weed of your current condition. You are speaking your future into existence. You are choosing your harvest in advance. This is not a passive process. It requires diligence and mindfulness. Begin today. Take a vow to become aware of the seeds you are planting. Listen to the words leaving your mouth. Listen to the thoughts circulating in your mind. Do not judge yourself, for that is just another negative seed. Simply notice, there is a seed of complaint, there is a seed of fear, there is a seed of judgment. This awareness is the first step. The second is to begin consciously choosing different seeds. Before you speak, ask yourself, is this word a seed for a weed or a flower? Does this sentence build a world I want to live in? Treat your words as the precious, powerful tools they are. Do not speak idly. Do not complain habitually, for to complain is to pray for the things you do not want. Do not gossip, for to do so is to cast spells of misfortune upon yourself. Instead, use your words to build, to bless, to heal, and to create. Speak of your dreams as if they are already so. Speak of your challenges as opportunities for growth. Speak of the people in your life with grace and appreciation. You are the author of your own story. Every day, every hour, you are writing the next chapter with the words you choose. Now, having understood the immense creative power of sound, of the seeds that you plant with your voice, we must turn our attention to the source from which all sound arises. If words are the seeds, then what is the soil? If speech is the music, what of the silence between the notes? For in that silent, receptive space, an entirely different kind of power resides. The power not of planting, but of becoming. We have honored the sacred power of the word, the living seed from which realities are grown. We have stood in awe of the creative force contained in the human voice and the disciplined mind. But now, we must turn our attention to the source of all sound, to the womb of all creation. We must explore the profound, generative power of its opposite. For every note needs the silence that defines it. Every seed needs the silent soil in which to grow. Every word is born from a vast, silent emptiness, and it is to this same silence that it must return. We must now learn the forgotten art of the space between the words, the holy ground of the meaningful pause. Our modern world is terrified of silence. It is a culture of noise, a civilization of ceaseless chatter. We have come to equate silence in a conversation with failure. It feels like a void, an awkward gap, a breakdown in connection that must be frantically patched over with more words. Any words. We fill the spaces with nervous laughter, with meaningless platitudes, with the hum of a television or the endless scroll of a phone. We are conditioned to believe that to be silent is to be boring, to be withholding, to be angry, or to have nothing to offer. The ego, that relentless narrator whose story of me is constructed entirely of thought and language, experiences a moment of shared silence as a small death. In the stillness, it has no role to play. It is momentarily unemployed, and this, to the ego, is terrifying. So it scrambles, it performs, it fills the air with static to prove it still exists. This fear has made our communication shallow and our lives frantic. We live like a musician who is terrified of the rests in a musical score, playing every note in a frantic, unbroken rush. The result is not music. It is a wall of noise, devoid of rhythm, of cadence, of feeling, of meaning. The meaning of music is created not by the notes alone, but by the relationship between the notes and the silence that surrounds them. The pause creates tension. The pause creates release. The pause allows a chord to resonate and be felt in the body. The pause is what turns sound into soul. So it is with human connection. The words are the notes, but the meaning, the intimacy, the truth, all of these are found in the space between. Let us explore the qualities of this sacred space. First, silence is the space of true reception. When another person speaks, our mind immediately begins to process, to analyze, to categorize, and to formulate a reply. We are not truly receiving their words. We are using them as data to feed our own mental machinery. But when you consciously choose to remain silent for a moment after they have finished speaking, you change the entire dynamic. You create a silent, sacred space for their words to land. You allow their offering, the complex package of their thoughts, feelings, and energy to be fully delivered and received by your whole being, not just by your intellect. It is an act of profound respect. It says, what you have shared is worthy of more than an instant reaction. It is worthy of being held in a space of honor. Second, silence is the space of integration. For you, the listener, that pause allows what you have heard to move from your head to your heart. It gives you a moment to feel the impact of their words, to let the resonance settle. For them, the speaker, the pause is just as vital. It gives them a moment to hear what they themselves have just said. So often, we do not know what we truly think or feel until we hear ourselves speak it aloud. That moment of silence after speaking is a crucial moment of self-discovery, where the speaker connects with their own deeper truth. When we rush to fill that silence, we rob them of that integration. We interrupt their conversation with their own soul. Third, silence is a gateway to a deeper truth. Often, the first thing a person says is not the real thing. It is a test balloon. It is the ego checking to see if the environment is safe. When they share something, and you meet it with immediate advice or a story of your own, you have failed the test. But when you meet their offering with receptive, non-judgmental silence, you send a powerful message. I am here. I am listening. It is safe to continue. It is in that trusting silence that the real story, the more vulnerable truth, often emerges. The pause is an invitation, a gentle opening of a door to a deeper room within them. You are holding a space for their courage to catch up with their desire to be seen. Fourth, and most mystically, silence is the field of direct communion. When words fall away, communication does not stop. It deepens. It shifts from the clumsy, limited symbols of language to the pure, unlimited language of being. In a comfortable shared silence with another person, you are no longer two egos exchanging information. You are two energy fields in resonance. You begin to feel their state directly. You sense their peace, their sorrow, their joy, without them needing to say a word. This is the silent understanding between old friends who can sit together for an hour without speaking and feel deeply connected. It is the wordless intimacy of lovers. It is a communion of hearts, a meeting that happens in the vast, silent space of shared presence. In this field, there is no misunderstanding. There is only a shared experience of being. Finally, silence is the womb of the perfect response. The ego believes it must frantically search its mental archives for the right thing to say. It is a stressful, calculated process, but the wise soul knows to wait. When you hold a space of stillness, when you refuse to let your anxious mind dictate the conversation, something miraculous happens. The right words, if words are even needed, will arise effortlessly from the silence itself. They will be imbued with the wisdom and compassion of your deeper being, not the cleverness of your ego. They will be simple, true, and profoundly healing. You do not have to find the right words. You only have to create the silence from which they can be born. To cultivate this power in your own life is a practice of unlearning. It is the practice of becoming comfortable with what once felt uncomfortable. Begin with this simple discipline, the one-breath rule. In your next conversation, when the other person finishes speaking, take one full conscious breath before you even begin to formulate a response. In through the nose, out through the mouth. This single breath, lasting only 3 or 4 seconds, will feel like an eternity at first. But it is a revolutionary act. It short-circuits the reactive mechanism of the ego. It creates a sacred buffer between stimulus and response. It transforms the entire quality of the interaction from one of frantic reaction to one of conscious presence. Practice listening to the sound behind the sound. Pay attention not just to the words, but to the very texture of the other person's voice. And then, listen for the moment their voice ceases, the moment it dissolves back into the silence from which it came. Linger there for a heartbeat. Feel that transition. This trains your awareness to seek the stillness, not just the noise. The more comfortable you become with your own inner silence when you are alone, sitting in a chair, just being, the more natural it will feel to offer that silence as a gift to others. It is true that not all silence is the same. There is the cold, angry silence of punishment. There is the tense, fearful silence of anxiety. There is the manipulative silence of passive aggression. These are not the silences we are speaking of. Those are the silences of a turbulent mind, of a closed heart. The silence we are cultivating is an open silence. It is a loving silence. It is the warm, receptive stillness of the lake. It is the vast, accepting quiet of the sky. It is a presence that says, all of you is welcome here. Your noise and your silence, all of it. When you master the art of holding this sacred space, you become a powerful mirror for the world. In the profound stillness you offer, others cannot help but see themselves with stunning clarity. Their own defenses, their own beauty, their own truths are reflected back to them without distortion. And in that pristine reflection, a curious thing happens. You see yourself, too. You see your own reactions, your own capacity for peace, your own shared humanity. In the space between, you not only find the meaning of the conversation, you find the meaning of connection itself. You discover that in the quiet space you create for another, the entire universe reveals its face. In the vast, silent space you have learned to hold, a new kind of seeing becomes possible. You begin to perceive the people in your life with a clarity that was previously unavailable, a clarity unclouded by the frantic chatter of your own mind. But the great secret you are about to discover is not what you see in them. The ultimate revelation is what they show you about yourself, for you must now grasp a principle so fundamental that it will restructure your entire understanding of reality. Every single person you meet, from the most intimate partner to the most casual stranger, is a mirror. Every interaction, without exception, is a revelation of your own inner state. Life is not happening to you, it is happening for you, and it is happening as you. The world you perceive is not a fixed, objective reality. It is a projection screen. Your consciousness, a complex tapestry of your beliefs, memories, wounds, and unexpressed potentialities, the projector. You do not see the world as it is. You see the world as you are. When you walk through life, you are walking through a hall of mirrors, each person reflecting a different angle of your own hidden interior. We are not angered by another's arrogance. We are angered by the reflection of an arrogance we either possess and deny or secretly long for. We are not enchanted by another's kindness. We are enchanted by the reflection of a kindness that lives, perhaps unrecognized, within our own heart. To truly understand this, imagine your soul as a perfect, multifaceted diamond. Through the process of living, of being wounded, of being conditioned, you have disowned certain facets. You have decided that some are bad, like anger, selfishness, or laziness, and have cast them into shadow. You have decided that others are too good for you, like genius, profound courage, or radiant beauty, and have projected them onto your heroes and idols. You are left living with only a small, socially acceptable sliver of your true magnificence. But the universe, in its infinite love for your wholeness, wants you to reclaim all of your lost pieces. And so, it sends you mirrors. It sends you people who embody the very qualities you have cast away, forcing you to look at your disowned self. The path to wholeness is the journey of gathering these fragmented reflections and integrating them back into the truth of who you are. This mirror has two primary faces. The first, and the one we encounter most forcefully, is the reflection of our shadow. The shadow contains all the parts of ourselves that we have deemed unacceptable. Think of a person in your life who consistently triggers you. A trigger is any emotional reaction that is disproportionate to the present moment. It is the intense irritation you feel at a colleague's disorganization. It is the wave of rage that washes over you when someone acts with entitlement. It is the deep annoyance you feel at a friend's perceived weakness. In that moment of being triggered, the ego's immediate response is to blame. He is so arrogant, she is so lazy. They are so irresponsible. We make the story about them. A conscious being learns to ask a different, more powerful question. In the moment of being triggered, the question is not, what is wrong with them, but what is this person showing me about myself? The irritation is a pointer. It is an arrow pointing directly to a disowned part of your own psyche. If you are enraged by another's arrogance, the mirror is asking you, where are you arrogant? Or, more subtly, where have you so completely suppressed your own right to take up space and value yourself that you cannot stand to see it in another? If you are disgusted by another's laziness, the mirror is asking, where have you denied your own deep need for rest? Where have you judged the part of yourself that simply wants to be unproductive and to exist without striving? The people who trigger us the most are not our enemies. They are our most dedicated spiritual teachers, sent by our own soul to guide us back to the parts of ourselves we have abandoned. Their presence is a sacred invitation to come home. The second face of the mirror is just as important, though often overlooked. It is the reflection of our light, of our golden shadow. Think of the people you deeply admire. Think of those you are infatuated with, those you place on a pedestal. The qualities you worship in them, their creativity, their courage, their compassion, their confidence, are a direct reflection of your own dormant potential. When you look at an artist and think, "I could never be that creative," you are misunderstanding the mirror. The very fact that you can recognize and be so moved by their creativity is proof that the same seed exists within you. You are admiring your own unrealized light. The work here is not to worship them from afar, but to use their reflection as inspiration to cultivate that same quality within yourself. Instead of saying, "She is so courageous," the conscious reframe is, "She is showing me the courage that is waiting to be activated within me." Your admiration is your soul calling to itself. It is reminding you of the magnificence you have forgotten you possess. To see the gold in another is to be reminded of the gold within. The goal is not to become them, but to become more fully yourself by reclaiming the brilliant qualities they are mirroring for you. To live with this understanding is to step out of the exhausting drama of blame and victimhood forever. No one is doing anything to you. They are simply living their own lives, broadcasting their own frequencies, and in doing so, they are providing you with a perfect, real-time diagnostic of your own inner state. The world ceases to be a threatening place filled with difficult people and becomes a wise, compassionate teacher, constantly providing you with opportunities for growth and integration. The person who cuts you off in traffic is not an idiot. They are a mirror for your own impatience. The partner who doesn't listen is not being cruel. They are a mirror for the ways in which you do not listen to yourself. Every interaction is a lesson. Every relationship is an assignment. The practice then becomes one of gratitude. Can you, in a moment of anger, pause and find it in your heart to inwardly thank the person who has triggered you? Can you say to the universe, "Thank you for sending me this mirror. Thank you for showing me this part of myself that is calling for my attention and my love"? This is not an easy practice, but it is a transformative one. It shifts you from a state of reactive righteousness to one of conscious, empowered self-discovery. As you do this work, as you begin to embrace your shadow and reclaim your gold, you become more whole. You stop living as a fragmented being at war with the world. You see that the arrogance, the laziness, the courage, and the kindness you see in others are all facets of the one human experience, and they all live within you. You become more compassionate, both with others and with yourself. You are no longer easily triggered, because you have already met and made peace with those energies within your own being. You have left the hall of shattered mirrors and have stepped into the truth of your own integrated wholeness. And from this place of deeper self-knowledge, a new question arises. Now that you have used the mirror of others to see your own truth, how do you express it? Now that you are aware of your authentic feelings, your boundaries, your needs, how do you communicate them to the very people who have served as your mirrors? How do you speak from this place of wholeness, with clarity, with compassion, and with power? How do you speak your truth without it becoming a war cry? You have stood before the mirror of the world and allowed it to show you the truth of your own being. You have seen the parts of yourself you had cast into shadow and the golden potential you had yet to claim. In the clarity of that reflection, your authentic feelings arise. Your true needs become known to you. Your sacred boundaries make themselves clear. And now, the natural impulse follows. The impulse to speak. The desire to bring this inner truth into the outer world, into your relationships. But here, we stand on a razor's edge, a place of immense power and potential peril. For the truth can be a medicine that heals, or it can be a weapon that wounds. The difference lies not in the truth itself, but in the consciousness from which it is spoken. Imagine that truth is a finely crafted surgeon's scalpel. In the hands of a skilled, compassionate surgeon whose sole intention is to heal, the scalpel is a tool of miraculous power. It can cut away disease, relieve pressure, and restore wholeness, all with minimal harm. But that very same scalpel, in the hands of a vengeful, wounded, or angry person, is no longer a tool of healing. It becomes a knife, a weapon used to attack, to punish, to inflict pain. The instrument is the same. The intention and the stability of the hand that wields it is everything. So it is with your truth. When spoken from a place of centered peace, self-responsibility, and a genuine desire for connection, it is a medicine that can heal relationships and liberate your soul. But when it is hurled from a place of unprocessed anger, blame, and righteousness, it becomes a war cry. It is the ego using the idea of truth as a justification for its attack. We must learn to distinguish the two. The ego's war cry often disguises itself as brutal honesty. It is usually far more brutal than it is honest. Its language is the language of blame and accusation. It uses absolute words like "you always" and "you never." It says, "The truth is, you're just selfish," or "I'm just telling it like it is." The energy behind it is hot, reactive, and agitated. Its goal is not understanding. Its goal is to win. It seeks to prove the other person wrong, to force them to change, to punish them for the pain you feel. It is an act of control, born from the belief that your inner peace depends on the other person's behavior. It is the sound of the armor clashing, a declaration of war that invites only defensiveness and further conflict. The soul's medicine, compassionate truth, sounds and feels entirely different. It is born from a place of stillness. It is spoken by a steady hand. Its language is the language of I, of self-responsibility. It does not say, "You are ignoring me." It says, "When this happens, I feel invisible." It does not say, "You have to change." It says, "I need to feel a sense of safety and respect in our connection." The energy behind it is cool, grounded, and clear. Its goal is not to attack or control the other person, but to lovingly reveal your own inner reality. It is an invitation into your world. It seeks not to win an argument, but to create a bridge of understanding. It is an act of profound self-love that honors both your own integrity and the humanity of the other person. So how do we ensure we are wielding the scalpel of a surgeon, not the knife of an attacker? The work is not done in the moment of speaking. The work is done in the inner preparation that precedes it. To speak the truth without a war cry, you must first find peace within yourself. This requires a conscious, deliberate process. The first step is to recognize your own inner state. When a trigger occurs, when you feel that familiar flash of anger or the cold grip of fear, you must recognize this as a signal. It is a sign that you are in a state of reaction. This is not the time to speak your truth. In this state, the scalpel is in the hands of a wounded child, and it will only be used to cause more harm. Your first responsibility is not to the conversation, but to your own inner turmoil. You must pause. You must step away from the immediate situation if necessary, excusing yourself with a simple, neutral phrase like, "I need a moment to process this." The second step is to feel the emotional charge on your own. Find a quiet space and turn your attention inward. Do not distract yourself. Feel the raw energy of the anger, the fear, the hurt. Where is it in your body? Is it a fire in your chest, a knot in your stomach, a tightness in your throat? Breathe into it. Hold that sensation in the vast, compassionate container of your awareness. You are not trying to get rid of the feeling. You are staying with it, honoring it, allowing its raw energy to move through you and discharge, without aiming it at another person. You are calming the trembling hand that holds the scalpel. You do this until the intense reactive charge has subsided, leaving only the clear, simple feeling beneath it. The third step is to clarify your deepest intention. With a calmer mind, ask yourself, what is my true goal here? Do I want to punish my partner, or do I want to feel closer to them? Do I want to prove my colleague wrong, or do I want to create a more effective working relationship? Do I want to control the other person's behavior, or do I want to honor my own boundary with love? Be radically honest with yourself. If any part of your intention is to punish, blame, or control, you are still operating from the ego. Continue to sit with yourself until your intention is purified, until it is aligned with healing and connection. Your intention should be simple. My goal is to express my authentic experience in a way that is true to me and respectful to them. The fourth step is to distill your truth down to its simplest, most essential form. The ego's story is always complicated, filled with a long history of he said, she said, and a detailed list of grievances. The soul's truth is always simple. Beneath the complex story, what is the core feeling? I feel scared, I feel disrespected, I feel lonely. What is the core need? I need reassurance, I need to be heard, I need space. Find that one simple, vulnerable sentence. This is your medicine. This is the truth that can be heard. The story I'm telling myself is that I don't matter in this decision is a healing truth. You're a selfish narcissist who never thinks of anyone else is a war cry. The final and most liberating step of preparation is to detach from the outcome. This is the master practice. You must speak your truth for the sake of your own integrity, because you owe it to yourself to be authentic. You must release the need for the other person to respond in a specific way. They might get defensive. They might not understand. They might not agree. They might not change. You cannot control their reaction. That is their mirror, their journey. Your only responsibility is to deliver your truth with as much clarity, peace, and compassion as you can muster. When you release the outcome, your communication becomes incredibly clean. It is no longer a manipulation, it is a pure offering. Only then, after this inner work is complete, are you ready to speak. You choose a time and place that honors the importance of the conversation, and you use the language you have prepared, the simple language of I feel, my experience is, I need. When you state a boundary, you frame it as an act of self-care, not a threat. You state what you will do, not what they must do. If the yelling continues, I will need to leave the room to take care of myself, is a powerful, loving boundary. You have to stop yelling at me, is a demand that invites a power struggle. This entire practice, this ability to hold your own pain, to seek to understand, to speak from a place of grounded love, rests upon one foundational human capacity. It is the ability to feel into the experience of another, to stand in their shoes, to sense their world from the inside. It is the quality that allows the surgeon to be compassionate, the quality that allows a truth-teller to be a healer. This quality is empathy, and it is to the profound alchemy of empathy that we must now turn. You have learned to wield the scalpel of truth with a steady hand, to speak from a place of clarity and peace, rather than from the battleground of the ego. But we must now ask a deeper question. What is the invisible force that steadies that hand? What is the profound medicine that allows the truth to heal rather than to harm? It is the most misunderstood and yet most transformative quality of the human heart. It is the alchemy of empathy. In our common understanding, we have diminished empathy, reducing it to a pale imitation of its true power. We mistake it for sympathy, which is to feel for someone. Sympathy, while often well-intentioned, is an act of separation. It creates a hierarchy of suffering. We stand on the dry land of our own well-being, looking down at the other person in the pit of their pain, and we offer them our pity. Oh, you poor thing. This maintains the distance. It reinforces their isolation. True empathy is not feeling for someone. It is the courageous act of feeling with them. It is stepping into the pit alongside them, not to rescue them, but simply to be with them in the dark, letting them know they are not alone. We mistake empathy for agreeing with someone. We believe that to empathize, we must approve of their choices or validate their perspective. This is not so. You can have profound empathy for the fear that drives a person to act destructively without condoning the act itself. You can feel the deep pain in someone's anger without agreeing with their reasons for it. Empathy transcends the mental realms of right and wrong. It operates at the level of the heart, which recognizes that all human behavior at its root is either an expression of love or a cry for love. And most commonly, we mistake empathy for the act of saying, "I know exactly how you feel." Though it often comes from a good place, this phrase is frequently a subtle hijacking by the ego. It shifts the focus from their unique experience back to our own. It presumes that our pain is identical to their pain, subtly diminishing the personal nature of their struggle. True empathy rarely says, "I know." It has the humility to admit that it can never know exactly what it is like to be the other person. Instead, its silent presence communicates something far more powerful. "I don't know exactly what this is like for you, but I am here with you, and I am not afraid of your feeling." The true alchemy of empathy is not a psychological technique. It is a spiritual state of being. It is the ability to become a safe harbor, a sacred container for another person's emotional experience. When you offer true empathy, you are not offering advice, opinions, or stories. You are offering the vast, silent, non-judgmental space of your own presence. You become the sanctuary where their anger is allowed to exist without being called bad, where their grief is allowed to flow without being told to cheer up, where their shame is allowed to be seen without being shamed further. You become the strong and loving walls of a temple in which their raw humanity is allowed to be holy. This is why all the inner work we have discussed is the absolute prerequisite for true empathy. You cannot be a stable container for another's storm if you are a storm yourself. You cannot offer a sanctuary to others if you have not first built one for yourself. It is your own practice of stillness, your own awareness of yourself as the vast sky, that gives you the capacity to hold another's weather without being consumed by it. You have so much space inside you that you can accommodate both your own inner peace and their inner turmoil simultaneously. Their anger does not threaten your peace. Their grief does not drown your spirit. You are not swept away by their river because you are rooted on the bank. From this stable place, you can offer them the lifeline of your calm, unwavering presence. This is an alchemical process because your presence has the power to transform their pain. An emotion like shame or fear cannot survive long in a field of unconditional, loving acceptance. When a person expresses a deep shame, and it is met not with judgment or disgust, but with quiet, compassionate presence, the shame begins to lose its toxic power. It is exposed to the light. The energy of the shame, which is just contracted, fearful energy, begins to relax and dissolve in the warmth of your acceptance. You do not do anything to heal them. Your empathetic presence allows their own natural healing process to begin. You are the catalyst, the philosopher's stone that turns the lead of their pain into the gold of self-acceptance. This profound skill begins not with others, but with yourself. The practice of empathy is, first and foremost, the practice of self-empathy. Can you be a sanctuary for your own feelings? When you feel a surge of irrational anger, do you judge yourself for it? Or can you create an inner space of acceptance for that fiery energy? When you feel a wave of deep sadness, do you try to distract yourself from it? Or can you be the loving presence that is willing to sit with your own sorrow? When you make a mistake and feel the sting of shame, can you offer yourself compassion instead of criticism? To the extent that you can be a safe harbor for your own inner world, you will be able to be a safe harbor for others. The compassion you deny yourself is the compassion you will be unable to offer anyone else. In conversation, You practice empathy by listening with a silent question in your heart. What is it like to be you in this moment? This question is a key that unlocks the heart. It silences your own ego's need to speak and opens a channel of pure curiosity and receptivity. You are not listening for facts to analyze. You are listening for a world to feel. Engage your body as a tool of empathy. As you listen, gently notice the sensations in your own body. Does your chest tighten? Does your stomach clench? Does a warmth spread through you? Your body is a finely tuned, resonant instrument. It will often pick up on the energetic frequency of the other person. These sensations are not yours to take on, but they are valuable information. They are a way of feeling with the other person on a non-verbal, energetic level, a direct experience of their inner state. When you learn to live from this place of deep, empathetic connection, first with yourself and then with others, a monumental shift occurs. Your desperate, lifelong search for external validation begins to wither and die. You no longer need other people to agree with you, to approve of your choices, or to applaud your performance in order to feel worthy or whole. Why? Because you are sourcing your sense of worth from a much deeper well. You are finding it in the sacred communion of shared presence. You are finding it in your own ability to be a source of acceptance for yourself and for the world. The frantic need to be liked is replaced by the quiet, powerful joy of being able to love. And this is the beginning of true, unshakable freedom. It is the end of the performance. You have walked the inner path of empathy, discovering the sacred sanctuary within yourself, where all feelings can be held with compassion. You have learned that you can be the source of the acceptance you once so desperately sought from the world. As you drink more deeply from this inner well of self-love and presence, you begin to notice a profound shift. Your thirst for the fleeting, unsatisfying waters of external validation begins to subside. You are standing at the threshold of one of the greatest freedoms a human being can know, the end of the performance. From our earliest days, we are trained to be performers on the grand stage of life. We are taught that our worth is not inherent, but is something to be earned through the applause of others. We learn our lines, we perfect our costumes, we practice our expressions in the mirror. The audience is varied parents, our teachers, our friends, our partners, our employers, and we become masterful at adapting our performance to suit their expectations. This relentless pursuit of validation becomes the central, motivating addiction of our lives. We are addicted to being seen as good, as smart, as successful, as attractive, as right. Our entire existence becomes a calculated act of impression management. To live this way is to live in a state of constant, low-grade anxiety. It is to hand the keys to your own inner peace to everyone you meet. After every conversation, the anxious inner monologue begins. Did they like me? Did I say the right thing? What did they think of that joke? Do they think I'm intelligent? Your sense of self becomes a fragile, flickering candle flame, subject to the slightest breeze of another's opinion. A word of praise makes you feel momentarily worthy. A hint of criticism or disapproval sends you into a spiral of self-doubt and despair. It is a life of bondage, a form of psychological slavery where you have made the entire world your master, and you are a desperate servant seeking a scrap of approval. You believe you are connecting with others, but you are only ever auditioning for them. The great liberation begins with the profound realization that life is not a stage, and you are not an actor. This is not a dress rehearsal for a future judgment. This is your life, and you have the power to step off the stage. Imagine it. Imagine simply walking off the brightly lit platform of performance, leaving the masks and costumes behind, and taking a quiet seat in the audience of your own life. From this new perspective, you simply watch the play of the world without feeling compelled to be its star. You are no longer performing for others. You are simply present for yourself. To let go of the need for validation is to experience a monumental release of energy. The sheer amount of life force that was being consumed by self-monitoring, by censoring your truth, by calculating your effect on others, all of that energy becomes available to you. It is a tidal wave of vitality that can now be used for authentic creation, for genuine connection, for simply being. The exhaustion you felt after social interactions vanishes because you are no longer performing. You are just showing up. The voice of your inner critic, whose primary job was to keep you acceptable to the tribe, begins to quieten. It has lost its function. When you no longer care about being judged, the inner judge has no one to speak to. This is the freedom of a new kind of indifference. It is not the cold, callous indifference of a person who does not care about others. It is a warm, spacious, loving indifference to the opinions of others about you. It is the deep, embodied understanding that another person's opinion of you is almost never about you. It is about them. It is a reflection of their own inner architecture, their own preferences, their own wounds, their own unmet needs. Their criticism and their praise are both mirrors of their own world, not accurate measurements of your soul. To let others be wrong about you, to release the frantic need to manage their perception of you, is to unshackle yourself from a million invisible chains. You are finally free to be the author of your own experience. This freedom is cultivated through the practice of self-sovereignty. You consciously shift the locus of approval from the outside world to your own inner world. The only applause that matters is your own. The only judgment that has weight is your own. You begin to end your day not by asking, "Did they like me?" but by asking, "Did I like me today? Was I true to myself? Did I act with integrity and compassion? Did I honor the truth of my own being?" This is the only scorecard that has any real meaning. You build this sovereignty by becoming crystal clear on your own why. When you know the deep, soul-level reason you are doing something, the chorus of external opinions becomes irrelevant background noise. If you are creating something from a place of authentic passion, it does not matter if a critic calls it foolish. If you are making a life choice based on your deepest values, it does not matter if others disapprove. Your inner purpose becomes your shield and your compass. It is the anchor that holds you steady in the turbulent seas of public opinion. You must also see the ultimate futility of the performance. You are trying to please an audience of billions, each with a different preference. The very thing that one person applauds, another will condemn. The personality that one finds charming, another will find irritating. To seek universal approval is to set yourself an impossible task, a guaranteed path to madness and self-abandonment. The only sane path is to abandon the quest for external validation and to embark on the much more rewarding journey of internal alignment. When you stop speaking and acting in order to get a reaction, you step into a new relationship with reality. Your words and actions are no longer pleas for approval. They become clean, clear, creative acts. You are no longer a performer hoping for a good review. You are a creator, sending out energy into the world. And every one of these authentic, non-performative acts has a consequence. It sets in motion a cycle of cause and effect. It creates a ripple in the fabric of existence that will inevitably return to you. Your communication is no longer an audition. It becomes your karma. Having stepped off the stage of performance, you are no longer an actor begging for a reaction, but a creator initiating an action. In this newfound freedom, you begin to sense that your words and intentions are not fleeting puffs of air, but potent forces that shape your reality. You are beginning to touch upon a law as fundamental, as impersonal, and as reliable as gravity. This is the great and profoundly misunderstood law of karma. To understand this law is to understand the hidden engine that drives the cycles of your life, especially the intricate and often painful cycles of your relationships. Before we proceed, we must strip away the layers of misconception that cling to this powerful word. Karma is not a cosmic system of reward and punishment, administered by a celestial judge who keeps a tally of your good and bad deeds. It is not a promise that if you suffer now, you will be rewarded later, or if someone harms you, they will eventually get what's coming to them. This is a childish interpretation, born of the ego's desire for vengeance and fairness. Karma is not fate. It is not a rigid destiny you are powerless to change. In fact, it is the very opposite of fate. Karma, in its purest form, simply means action. It is the universal law of cause and effect. It states that every action, which includes every thought, every word, every intention, and every physical deed, is a cause that sets in motion a chain of effects. These effects are not arbitrary punishments or rewards. They are simply the energetic ripples that perfectly match the original action. If you drop a stone into a pond, it creates ripples. The size and nature of the ripples are a direct consequence of the size of the stone and the force with which you dropped it. The pond is not rewarding or punishing you. It is simply responding to your action with perfect, impersonal precision. So it is with the universe. It is a vast, responsive field that mirrors back to you the quality of the energy you put into it. Karma is not a moral law. It is a law of physics for consciousness. It is a perfect, unbiased feedback system designed not to punish you, but to teach you. It is the universe holding up a mirror and saying, "This is the energy you are creating. Do you like the reflection?" Every conversation you have is an act of sowing a karmic seed. The words you use are the shell of the seed, but the intention behind the words is its genetic code. This is the crucial distinction. You can offer a piece of advice, but if the intention behind it is to control the other person or prove your own superiority, the karmic seed you are planting is one of control and separation. The harvest will inevitably be resentment and distance. You can offer the very same piece of advice, but if your intention is one of genuine, selfless support, the karmic seed is one of love and connection. The harvest will be one of trust and intimacy. The outer action can be identical. The inner karma is worlds apart. Now, look at the recurring patterns in your life. Do you find yourself having the same argument with your partner over and over again? A painful script that you both know by heart but seem powerless to change? Do you find yourself attracting the same kind of emotionally unavailable friends or critical bosses time after time? Do you carry a recurring feeling of being misunderstood, taken for advantage of, or victimized? These are not random misfortunes. These are karmic loops. They are closed circuits of energy that you are unconsciously co-creating. They are feedback from the universe, patiently waiting for you to learn the lesson they contain so the cycle can be broken. Let us deconstruct a common karmic loop. Imagine a couple where one person, let's call them Alex, feels that their partner, Ben, is not emotionally present. The loop begins when Alex initiates an action. Driven by a feeling of loneliness, the unconscious wound, Alex speaks. The words might be, "You're never really here with me." But the karmic seed planted is not just the words. It is the energy of blame and accusation. This is the cause. Now, the effect. Ben, on the receiving end, does not hear a plea for connection. He feels the energetic sting of blame. His armor, which we have spoken of, instantly goes up. His unconscious reaction is to defend himself and withdraw further. He might say, "I'm right here. What are you talking about?" Or he might simply shut down, his silence becoming a wall. His reaction, which is the effect of Alex's cause, now becomes a new cause. Alex feels this withdrawal, this defensive wall. It confirms their original story. He is never really present for me. This confirmation triggers more pain, which leads to another action from Alex, perhaps with even more blame and frustration. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. The loop is now complete. A self-perpetuating cycle of blame and withdrawal has been activated. They are trapped in a karmic knot of their own making, each person's reaction validating the other's wound, ensuring the painful play will be performed again and again. Most of us live our lives trapped in dozens of these loops, large and small. They are the grooves worn into our personalities and our relationships by years of unconscious, reactive communication. We are not bad people for creating them. We are simply unconscious gardeners, scattering seeds of blame, fear, and insecurity, and then wondering why our lives are so full of weeds. How then do you break the cycle? How do you become a conscious karmic creator? The single point of power, the only place you can ever intervene, is in the present moment, within your own consciousness. A karmic loop is a chain of unconscious reactions. The moment one person in the system chooses a conscious response instead of an unconscious reaction, the chain is broken. Let us return to our couple. They are on the verge of playing out their painful script once again. But this time, Alex has been doing the inner work. They feel the familiar loneliness arise, the impulse to speak from that place of blame. But they pause, they breathe, they turn inward and acknowledge the feeling without judgment, as we have practiced. They feel the sadness, the need for connection. They allow the hot, reactive charge to settle. Then they make a new choice. They decide to plant a different karmic seed. Instead of "you're never here," Alex speaks from a place of vulnerable, compassionate truth. "I'm feeling a bit lonely right now, and I miss feeling connected to you." Notice the difference. The seed is no longer blame, it is vulnerability. The energy is no longer an attack, it is an invitation. This new cause creates the possibility for a new effect. Ben, on the receiving end, does not feel the sting of blame. He feels the soft energy of his partner's authentic feeling. His armor may still twitch out of habit, but there is no attack to defend against. The new energy invites a different part of him to respond. He might reply with curiosity, or with empathy, or even with his own vulnerability. "I'm sorry you feel that way. I've been feeling distant too." The old loop is broken. A new, constructive cycle has a chance to begin. The key to this entire process is the willingness to take 100% responsibility for the energy you bring to every interaction. This is the essence of karmic mastery. You stop waiting for the other person to change. You stop blaming them for their reactions. You recognize that you cannot control their behavior, but you have absolute power over your own. You realize that by changing your own karmic input, you change the entire dynamic of the system. You stop being a victim of the loop and become its conscious transformer. This is true freedom. It is the understanding that your life is not a series of events that happen to you, but a direct reflection of the energy you are creating. Each conversation is a sacred opportunity to break an old cycle and begin a new one. Each interaction is a chance to plant a seed of compassion instead of a seed of conflict. As you begin to do this in your personal life, dissolving the painful karmic knots in your own relationships, you begin to sense that this work is not just for you. Your personal cycles are microcosms of the larger collective cycles of humanity, and by bringing consciousness and healing to your own corner of the world, you are contributing to the healing of the whole. Your liberation from your personal karma is an act of service to all. You have diligently worked to untangle the karmic knots of your personal history, to bring consciousness to the repetitive cycles that have defined your relationships. As you persist in this sacred work, a strange and beautiful phenomenon begins to occur. You start to see beyond the edges of your own story. You notice that the threads of your deepest fears, your most profound longings, and your most painful wounds are not unique to you. They are universal threads, woven into the very fabric of every human heart. In healing yourself, you have begun to heal your connection to all of humanity. You are stepping beyond the confines of the personal self and awakening to your place in the vast, interconnected field of the collective. For most of our lives, we are utterly captivated by our personal story. It is a drama in which we are the central character. The narrative is filled with my pain, my struggles, my triumphs, my desires. This story, while necessary for the development of the ego, creates a powerful and painful illusion, the illusion that we are separate, isolated beings, living out our unique destiny in a world of other, separate beings. We feel fundamentally alone in our suffering and singularly special in our joy. From this perspective, other people are either allies in our drama, obstacles to our goals, or simply irrelevant background characters. The great spiritual traditions have offered a different perspective, using a metaphor of profound simplicity. They tell us that you are not a solitary wave in the ocean, struggling against other waves and fearing your eventual crash upon the shore. You are the entire ocean, experiencing itself for a brief time in the form of a wave. The wave has a unique shape, a unique position, a unique journey. But its substance, its essence, is the same water that makes up every other wave. Its separation is an illusion of form, a trick of the light. Deep down, it is one with the totality of the ocean. So it is with you. You are not just your personal story. You are the entire story of humanity, the one consciousness, expressing itself for a moment as you. To awaken to this is to connect with what has been called the collective consciousness. Imagine it as the psychic and energetic atmosphere of our planet. It is the invisible field in which we all live and breathe, a repository containing the residue of every thought, feeling, hope, dream, and trauma ever experienced by a human being. It is the source of our shared myths, our archetypes, our deepest instincts. Your personal mind is like a single computer terminal, but you are perpetually connected to this vast, cosmic internet. The anxieties you feel are not just your anxieties. You are tapping into the ambient fear in the collective field. The love you feel for your child is not just your love. It is the universal, archetypal love of a parent flowing through you. Think of yourself as a single, living cell in the magnificent body of humanity. When you are lost in your personal story, it is like a skin cell on the tip of a finger, believing it is a separate, independent entity. It is obsessed with its own tiny dramasa small cut, a bit of dry skin, unaware of its vital connection to the hand, the arm, the beating heart, the breathing lungs, the thinking brain. It doesn't realize that the very oxygen and nutrients that keep it alive are supplied by the whole. It doesn't see that its own health contributes to the health of the entire organism. Its sense of separation is its primary source of suffering. The moment that cell awakens to its place in the larger body, everything changes. Its personal problems do not vanish, but they are seen in a new context. It realizes its well-being is inseparable from the well-being of the whole. This awakening is the end of true loneliness. When you realize that the heartbreak you feel is the same timeless energy of heartbreak felt by billions of others, your pain is no longer a sign of your personal failure. It becomes a point of profound communion. It connects you, in a spirit of deep empathy, to every other human being who has ever loved and lost. Your suffering ceases to be a wall that isolates you and becomes a bridge that connects you. You are no longer alone in your pain. You are participating with courage in the shared experience of the human heart. This shift in perspective transforms your role in the world. You are not just living your own life, you are a steward of a small patch of the collective consciousness. The work you do to heal your own trauma, to dissolve your own limiting beliefs, to break your own karmic cycles, is not just for you. Every time you choose compassion over judgment, you introduce that coherent frequency into the shared field, making it a tiny bit easier for someone on the other side of the world to do the same. Every time you heal a wound of unworthiness within yourself, you are healing that wound for all of humanity. Your personal liberation is a planetary service. You are a cell in the body of humanity, and by healing yourself, you contribute to the healing of the entire body. Imagine the collective consciousness as a great universal song, a symphony of existence. Every soul is a unique instrument, playing a unique note. For much of our lives, we are so consumed with our own small part that we don't listen to the rest of the orchestra. We play our note of fear or anger loudly and out of tune, creating dissonance in the larger harmony. The work of self-realization is the process of learning to hear the entire symphony. You begin to listen to the music of the whole, and in doing so, you learn how to tune your own instrument and play your own note with clarity, beauty, and purpose. This changes how you communicate. You begin to see past the dissonant notes another person might be playing: their anger, their arrogance, their fear, and you hear the deeper music of their soul. You recognize that their challenging behavior is not a personal attack on you, but is the sound of an instrument that is out of tune, a soul that is in pain. This allows for a level of compassion that was previously impossible. Your interactions are no longer about two egos clashing. They become an opportunity for your own clear note of presence and peace to help another instrument remember its own true tone. To be a clear and harmonious contributor to this universal song, however, requires that you know your own unique note intimately. To be a healthy, functioning cell that serves the whole body, you must first have a strong and healthy cell wall. You cannot be a healing presence for the collective if you are constantly being swamped by its noise and its pain. And so, the journey outward into the vastness of the collective consciousness inevitably leads you back to the sanctuary of your own inner world. To connect with everyone, you must first learn how to be, truly and deeply, with yourself. You must master the art of the solitude that connects, rather than the solitude that isolates. You have expanded your awareness to touch the edges of the collective consciousness, to feel your unbreakable connection to the entire symphony of humanity. You have seen how your personal healing contributes to the harmony of the whole, and now this grand outward journey brings you, by a sacred and necessary paradox, back to the most intimate space of all, the space of your own solitude. To be a clear instrument in the universal orchestra, you must first be able to hear your own note, away from the sound of every other player. You must learn to embrace the solitude that connects, and to differentiate it from the loneliness that isolates. Our society has made a terrible mistake. It has conflated two profoundly different states of being: loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is a state of lack. It is the painful awareness of an absence. It is the feeling of being a half, restlessly searching for another person to complete you. Loneliness is driven by fear, the fear of being with the emptiness inside yourself. It is a state of inner poverty, and it causes us to seek connection from a place of hunger. We approach others as beggars, hoping they will give us the validation, attention, or distraction we need to avoid our own inner void. Relationships born from loneliness are relationships of dependency, destined to become tangled in neediness and disappointment. Solitude, on the other hand, is a state of fullness. It is not an absence of others. It is the potent and peaceful presence of oneself. It is a deliberate and chosen state, a retreat into the sanctuary of your own being, not to escape the world, but to more deeply connect with yourself and with the source of all life. Solitude is not born from fear, but from love. It is the joyous discovery that you are not a half-seeking completion, but a whole universe waiting to be explored. Loneliness is a state of painful separation from others. Solitude is a state of joyful communion with the self. To cultivate a relationship with solitude is one of the most essential acts of a spiritual life. The world is a cacophony of energies, a constant bombardment of other people's opinions, desires, fears, and demands. We absorb these energies unconsciously. We mistake another's anxiety for our own. We adopt another's dreams as if they were ours. To step into solitude is to step into a vibrational cleansing chamber. It is the act of consciously unplugging from the noise of the collective so you can hear your own signal again. It is like wiping a dusty mirror clean so that for a moment you can see your true face, unmuddled by the projections and expectations of the world. In the quiet of solitude, you can finally untangle your energy from everyone else's and remember who you were before the world told you who to be. The great metaphor for this is the building of your own fire. A person who lives in fear of loneliness is like someone shivering in a desolate, cold landscape. They have no fire of their own. Their entire survival strategy is based on finding another person who has a fire and then huddling close to it for warmth. They become terrified that the other person might leave, for if they do, they will be left to freeze in the darkness. This desperate neediness often becomes a burden and can ironically extinguish the very fire it seeks to share. The practice of solitude is the sacred work of gathering your own wood. It is the patient process of learning to strike your own flint against stone until a spark catches. It is the art of tending to your own inner flame until it grows into a steady, warm, and self-sustaining fire. This fire is your own inner peace, your own self-love, your own connection to the divine. It is the warmth of your own presence. To sit in solitude is to sit by your own fire, to be nourished by its heat, to be comforted by its light. Once you have cultivated this inner fire, your entire orientation to the world changes. You no longer seek relationships to escape the cold. You are not looking for someone to save you from your own darkness. You are already warm. You are already illuminated from within. Now, you can enter into relationships not as a seeker of warmth, but as a sharer of it. You can invite another person to sit by your fire, and you can enjoy sitting by theirs, but your survival no longer depends on it. This is the foundation of all healthy, free, and sacred relationships. It is a meeting of two whole, self-sustaining fires, choosing to burn together for a time, creating a light and a warmth far greater than either could create alone. This is the end of the fear that cripples so many relationships. The fear of being abandoned loses its terrifying power. Why? Because you know, with a deep, cellular certainty, that if another person chooses to walk away, you will not be left to freeze. You will be returning to the deep comfort and abiding warmth of your own inner fire. You will be returning home to yourself. The relationship ceases to be a solution to the problem of loneliness and becomes a joyous expression of your own fullness. True solitude, then, is not the opposite of connection. It is the prerequisite for authentic connection. It is only because you have found a home within yourself that you can truly be present for another human being. You are not using them as a distraction, an entertainer, or a therapist. You are meeting them, free of need, as one sovereign being to another. You can offer them the pure gift of your presence because you are not secretly trying to get something from them. You can listen with true empathy because you are not afraid of the silence. You have made friends with the silence within yourself, and so it holds no terror for you. Find this solitude. Carve it out of your busy life with the same devotion you would give to a great love affair. Turn off the phone, close the laptop, sit in a chair and simply be with yourself. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. The ego will scream for distraction. Your mind will race. This is normal. This is the inner noise you have been successfully avoiding for years. Do not run from it. Simply sit. Breathe. Be the sky that holds the frantic clouds of your mind. Be the quiet witness to your own restlessness. And slowly, gently, a deeper stillness will emerge. The fire will catch. In that stillness, you will find a companion that will never leave you. You will find the undiluted presence of your own soul. This state of inner wholeness, this warm fire cultivated in solitude, is not merely a psychological or spiritual concept. It is a physical reality. It is an energy that you can feel in your own body. Your body is the vessel for this truth, the compass that registers this inner alignment. And it is to the wisdom of this physical vessel, this unspoken conversation of flesh and bone, that our journey now takes us. You have tended the sacred fire of your soul in the quiet sanctuary of solitude. You have discovered a wholeness within that does not depend on the world outside. But this inner state of fullness, this profound peace, is not an abstract concept floating in the ether. It has a home, it has an anchor. It lives and breathes and has its being in the one place you are guaranteed to inhabit for your entire life, the only true home you will ever know, your physical body. For too long, we have treated the body as a beast of burden, a machine to be commanded, or an inconvenience to be ignored. Now, we must learn to see it for what it truly is, a vessel of immense wisdom, a divine compass, a sacred instrument that is constantly speaking the unspoken truth. Our culture has driven a devastating wedge between the mind and the body. We are taught to live in our heads, to prize the intellect, to worship at the altar of logic and reason. We are conditioned to believe that our thoughts are who we are, and the body is merely a vehicle to carry the brain from one appointment to the next. We override its signals with caffeine, numb its feelings with distraction, and silence its cries of exhaustion with the relentless whip of our ambition. We have become ghosts driving a machine, disconnected from the very life force that animates us. We are disembodied, ungrounded, and we wonder why we feel a constant, low-grade anxiety, a sense of not quite being here. The consequences of this exile from the body are profound. We stay in jobs, relationships, and situations that are slowly draining our life force because we have learned to ignore the subtle, persistent feeling of contraction in our gut. We develop illnesses that are the body's final, desperate screams for the rest and attention we denied it when it was merely whispering. We mistrust our own intuition because it doesn't come with a logical spreadsheet of pros and cons. We have silenced the wisest counselor we will ever have. For the body is the living library of your truth. It is the subconscious mind made manifest in flesh and bone. Every experience you have ever had, every joy that has opened your heart, every trauma that you have suppressed, every truth you have failed to speak it, is all stored not just as a memory in your brain, but as an energetic pattern in your tissues, your muscles, your very cells. The body remembers everything. Its language is not words, but sensation. And our journey now is to learn to listen to its silent, infallible tongue. This is the practice of embodiment. It is the conscious choice to inhabit your body fully, to bring your awareness down from the noisy attic of your mind and into the living, breathing reality of your physical form. It is learning to trust the subtle, non-verbal conversation your body is having with the world, moment by moment. This conversation is your compass. It is constantly telling you what is true for you, what is aligned with your soul, and what is a betrayal of your being. Let us explore the language of this compass. Your gut is your center of primal knowing. The mind can be deceived, but the gut cannot. It is your direct line to your instinct. When you meet a new person or enter a new situation, your gut gives you an immediate, visceral reading. It is the feeling of yes or no that precedes all thought. It is the feeling of ease, of relaxation, of safety that says, this is good for you. Or it is the feeling of clenching, of nausea, of coldness that says, warning, proceed with caution. We have all had the experience of overriding a gut feeling with logic, only to regret it later. To honor your gut is to honor the ancient animal wisdom that resides within you. Your heart and chest are the center of relational truth. This is the compass that guides your connections. When you are with someone you love and trust, when you are engaged in work that is true to your soul, you can feel a literal, physical openness in your chest. It feels warm, expansive, radiant. Your heart feels light. This is the somatic signal of yes in the domain of connection. Conversely, when you are with someone who is not safe, when you are betraying yourself, when you are heartbroken, you feel a physical contraction. Your chest feels tight, heavy, achy, as if a band is squeezing it. This is the body's clear and unambiguous no. It is telling you that this connection, or this action, is causing a dissonance in your heart's frequency. Your throat is the center of expression. It is the bridge between your inner world and the outer world. When you are holding back words that need to be spoken, when you are swallowing your truth out of fear, you will feel a literal lump in your throat. It feels constricted, tight, blocked. This is the body telling you that you are suppressing your authentic voice. When you finally speak your truth, even if it is difficult, you will often feel a release, an opening, a warmth in your throat. This is the body's signal that you have returned to alignment. Your shoulders, your neck, your jaw, these are the great storehouses of burden and resistance. When you take on responsibilities that are not yours, when you carry the weight of the world, your shoulders will literally feel heavy and tense. When you are angry or frustrated but do not express it, you will find yourself clenching your jaw, grinding your teeth in your sleep. This is the body storing the energy of unprocessed emotion. Chronic pain in these areas is often the body begging you to put down the burdens you are not meant to carry and to release the resentments you are holding on to. And your breath is the great barometer of your presence. When you are anxious or in a state of fear, your breath becomes shallow, rapid, and held high in the chest. When you are relaxed and present, your breath is deep, slow, and sinks down into your belly. Your breath is the most immediate and accessible tool you have for shifting your energetic state. By consciously choosing to deepen and slow your breath, you send a direct message to your nervous system. You are safe. All is well. You can change your entire inner state in 3 conscious breaths. The practice of embodiment is the practice of coming home. It begins with the simple act of paying attention. Throughout your day, create small moments of somatic check-in. Pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what am I feeling in my body right now? Do not judge the sensation. Do not try to analyze it. Simply notice it. There is tightness in my shoulders. There is a warmth in my belly. There is a hollowness in my chest. This is the beginning of a new friendship with yourself, a friendship built on listening. You can practice this more formally through a body scan meditation. Lying down, bring your gentle, loving awareness to each part of your body in turn, from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head. Simply notice, feel, and breathe into each part. This is not about fixing anything. It is about inhabiting your own skin, about reclaiming the lost territories of your own physical being. As you become more fluent in this silent language, you can begin to use your body as a compass for making choices. When faced with a decision, move beyond the mental pros and cons. Take a moment to feel into each option. First, imagine you have chosen option A. Hold that choice in your mind and notice what happens in your body. Does it create a feeling of expansion, lightness, and openness? Or does it create a feeling of contraction, tightness, and dread? Then do the same for option B. Your body's response will often be far clearer and wiser than your mind's endless debate. Learn to trust the feeling of expansion as your soul's yes. This return to the body is the final, crucial piece of the puzzle. You have learned to quiet the mind, to open the heart, to take responsibility for your energy, and to connect with the collective. Now, you anchor all of this wisdom in the felt reality of your physical form. When your mind, your heart, and your body are in coherent conversation, you cease to be a fragmented self at war with your own experience. You become an integrated being, a harmonious whole. This is not a destination to be reached, but a state of being to be lived, moment by embodied moment. This is the practice of living the connection you once sought. We have journeyed together through the vast and intricate architecture of the inner world. We began in the noisy, sealed echo chamber of the ego and have traveled all the way to the silent, knowing wisdom of the body. We have learned to listen, to feel, to see ourselves in others, and to speak our truth with a surgeon's steady hand. And now, we arrive at the final stage of our journey, which is not a new lesson, but the weaving together of all the threads. We arrive at the practice of integration, where the work ceases to be a series of techniques to be applied, and instead becomes the very way you live and breathe. This is the shift from seeking connection to simply being the connection. For your entire life, you may have believed that connection was something you had to do. You had to learn the right words, develop the right skills, perfect the right personality. It was a striving, an effort, a constant performance. The great peace comes with the realization that authentic connection is not something you do. It is what happens naturally when you stop doing everything else that is in its way. It is the natural result of a life lived in a state of presence. You have spent this entire journey not building something new, but dismantling all that is false. Imagine that your true self, your soul, is a magnificent lamp, capable of radiating a brilliant and warming light. But over the course of your life, this lamp has become caked with layers of dust, mud, and grime. This grime is your conditioning, your limiting beliefs, your unprocessed pain, your identification with the ego. The journey we have taken has not been about trying to create light. The light was always there. The journey has been the patient, compassionate work of cleaning the lamp. Quieting the mind was the act of letting the dust settle. Feeling your emotions was the act of washing away the mud of old pain. Seeing yourself in the mirror of others was the act of recognizing the smudges on the glass as your own. Every step has been an act of cleaning, and now you need no longer try to shine. Your only work is to remain clear. The light will take care of itself. What does it look like to live as this clear, integrated being? How do these 19 paths converge into one seamless way of life? Imagine a simple, ordinary conversation. Your partner comes home from a difficult day at work and begins to speak. In the past, you might have half listened, your mind already formulating advice or planning dinner. But now, something is different. You are anchored in your body, feeling the solidness of the chair beneath you, the gentle rhythm of your own breath. You are not lost in the echo chamber of your own mind. You are resting in a field of quiet, open stillness. As your partner speaks, you notice your own thoughts, arising judgments, opinions, solutions, but you are not identified with them. You are the sky, allowing these mental clouds to drift by without clinging to them. You are simply present. You are listening not just to their words, but to the energetic signature behind them, the frequency of their exhaustion and frustration. You are not wearing the mask of the perfectly supportive partner. You are resting in your own authentic, vulnerable presence, which creates a space of safety for them. They say something that triggers a familiar feeling of irritation in you. In the past, this would have been the start of a karmic loop. But now, you see their words as a mirror. You recognize the irritation not as their fault, but as a reflection of your own unmet need or unhealed wound. You take responsibility for your inner reaction. You practice deep, somatic empathy, feeling the tightness in your own chest as a resonance with their stress, and you hold it with compassion. You do not need their validation to feel okay, so you are not tempted to argue or defend. You are free. Because you understand the karma of conversation, you consciously choose not to plant a seed of blame. Instead, you wait. You hold the space between the words, allowing a moment of sacred silence. And from that stillness, a response arises, born of all this integrated wisdom. It is not a clever line or a piece of calculated advice. It is simple. It is true. It might be a gentle touch. It might be the question, "That sounds so hard," What was that like for you? It might be just your silent, unwavering, loving presence. In this one, ordinary interaction, all the lessons have converged. They are no longer separate techniques. They have become one fluid dance of conscious, loving connection. You did not try to connect. You simply showed up as your whole, integrated self, and connection was the unavoidable result. This is how the sacred becomes ordinary, and the ordinary becomes sacred. The practice is no longer confined to a meditation cushion or a journal. Washing the dishes becomes a practice of embodied presence. Driving in traffic becomes an opportunity to notice your triggers and choose a peaceful response. Waiting in line at the store becomes a moment to connect with your breath and offer silent compassion to the tired faces around you. Life itself becomes your practice, your meditation, your prayer. This integration is not a final destination, a perfect state you will one day achieve and then possess forever. It is a lifelong unfolding. There will be days when the dust settles on the lamp again. The ego will get loud, the armor will feel tempting, you will slip back into an old, reactive pattern. This is not a failure. It is simply part of the human experience. The difference now is that you have awareness. You can see it happening. You can notice, I am wearing my armor again, or I am lost in my thoughts. And you do not meet this observation with self-judgment, for that is just another layer of grime. You meet it with the same gentle, loving presence you have learned to offer others. You meet it with self-compassion. You take a breath, you come back to your body, and you begin again. You began this journey, seeking connection, as if it were a treasure hidden outside of yourself. You have traveled inward, through darkness and light, and have discovered the great secret. You are not the seeker of connection. You are the connection. You are the space in which all relationships happen. You are the awareness in which all love is experienced. You are the stillness that holds the entire symphony of life. Your work is not to strive, but to be, not to achieve, but to allow. Your task is simply to clean the lamp, and then live, and in living, to shine. And so, our journey of words comes to a close, only so that the real journey, the journey of lived experience, can truly begin. We have traveled through many landscapes of the soul, explored many inner chambers, and polished many tarnished mirrors. And after all this exploration, we arrive at a destination of profound simplicity. The ultimate art of connection is not an art of doing at all. It is an art of being. Do not try to be a good listener. Simply become a silent space for another to be heard. Do not strive to be a compassionate friend. Simply become a sanctuary of acceptance where another can be real. Do not work at being a loving partner. Simply become a field of presence where love can naturally arise. Stop trying to build the perfect bridge to another person. Instead, become the open, peaceful space on your side of the chasm, and you will find that the distance dissolves. You will discover that you were never separate to begin with. The universe you have been trying so hard to understand, to navigate, to receive blessings from, is not outside of you. It is the very consciousness that is looking out through your eyes at this very moment. It is the stillness that holds your every thought. It is the silence that hears your every breath. And so, we are left with only this, a final, simple practice to carry with you, not as a task to be completed, but as a home to return to. Be still and listen, not with your ears, but with the whole of your being. Listen to the silence between your thoughts. Listen to the feeling in your body. Listen to the vast, quiet presence that you are. For in that stillness, you will hear the universe whispering. Its secrets are not shouted from mountaintops, but are felt in the gentle rhythm of your own heart. It whispers its wisdom to you in the form of intuition. It whispers its love through you in the form of compassion. And finally, you will realize the ultimate truth. It is whispering as you. You are the voice of the divine. learning to speak its own name. There is nothing more to know. There is nothing more to achieve. There is only this breath, this moment, this sacred, silent presence, peace.